Sorry you feel that way, Fletcher. Yeah, Fletcher, you said fuck Bowie. Oh, sorry you feel that way. That's right, trolls. I troll the trolls. Oh, you didn't say it? Who said that then? Someone said Bowie's a Satanist. Fuck Bowie. Yes, Darren, I know. I know. That's why I'm playing him today. In honor of this.
Bowie's dad, he used to be a big fan of the Silicon Spin.
Bowie?
Yep.
Oh, how do you know?
Because he wrote us a lot.
What the hell? 14 years, and you're only telling me this now?
He used to listen to it from his Bermuda house at his satellite dish.
This is fantastic. I never knew this.
Well, it's just a person listening to the show.
Yeah. Not just a person. He was from Mars.
Yeah. And women are from Venus.
Yeah, all right. Let's get the bitch out.
Fat lady!
Hello, fat bitch.
Fat Valkyrie!
So misogynistic. Deplatform them. It is that time once again as we release the bat signal. There it is, flying high. That means it's time to retweet the tweet, boost the toot. We have the best podcast in the universe. Episode 1311 of No Agenda is next. Nailed it. Don't do that. Down, zippity years, hiddity hoo, hiddity hey, rutsnity, snickety beeb, hibbity beeb, Toast. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Ay. Zip-diddy-doo-doo. Diddly-dee-dee-dee. Diddly-dee-dee. Where is it here? What is this sheet? There we go. Hey, trolls. How you doing? Y'all?
Here's some guy who, and he sent this to you, he sent it to me, and then he sent it to Shill to anonymize this. Of course, he sent it this morning. So now, we got to talk about this during the show. These guys who still don't have a clue about what to do. Take his last name off the donation.
Yeah.
And he sends it to Shill at No Agenda Shop. Yeah, it's gonna work.
Now, my favorite is a long note with a donation. And, plugging the URL for a new something, which sounds cool. And then sending a note saying, just hold everything until Thursday. The website's not ready. Like, we don't have a mechanism for that.
I saw that one too.
Did you take care of that somehow?
No, I'm just going to read the note. What does it do to take? Just do something about the website yourself. Most people, does he think that mentioning a website, people are going to flock to it immediately? It takes a week to listen to the show for most people.
People flock, man. We talk, people flock. There you go. Are you full strength in front of that microphone?
I'm not even by the microphone.
Wow, it's a good microphone.
All right. Well, I sent some of these things over to Eric to see if he's going to do a second spreadsheet. We'll see.
Oh, do we need to check real quick?
I just checked. It's not there.
Okay. A redux.
But we'll check before we... an hour from now.
Yeah.
So
Hold on.
Check then. All right. I can work on these as we go along. Oh, I got to get this paperwork off this desk.
Doesn't it clean itself up when the pile falls over?
This pile never gets that big.
Oh, my piles used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I stopped.
That would be one way of doing it, but then you got a mess on the floor.
Yeah, I stopped with the piles. I've gone minimalist. I throw stuff away.
Yeah, good for you. Hey, did you get a dog yet?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I'm just telling you, if you got dogs without, I have a message from Jay. It's very urgent.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it in the dog segment. The dogs are a people too segment. Don't blow this stuff in the pre-show. Just throwing the content away. Goes against all principles of Gitmo Nation.
Ready?
Yeah, I've been ready.
Hit it.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, January 11th, 2021. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1311.
This is No Agenda.
OTG, but still broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're passing around Nancy Pelosi's laptop. Apparently, she plays Hunt the Lumpus a lot. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackbot and Buzzkill.
In the morning. Okay, nice one. Nice call back to Hunt the Wumpus. All 5 people know. Yes. Well, may I start by handing out congratulations to all producers, past and present, for maintaining the security of our product, the No Agenda Show, by supporting the value for value model with your time, your talent, your treasure, especially our dude's name Ben and Dudette's name Bernadette. We always knew the sysadmins would save the day. The IT specialists were on our side, and we run on probably 95% our own infrastructure. We're not bulletproof, but can you just imagine if we were using any other platform, even if Twitter was important, that's where we communicated, this would be quite disturbing what would be happening right now. And so far, it's good. We're hanging in. But it's really a testament to the model and a testament to everyone who continues to participate. This deplatforming
I
is
agree
huge.
with that. It's a testament. I think that the way we do it is absolutely the only way to go.
Yeah.
But I don't think we'd be taken off of anything. We're not a threatening operation. We just deconstruct news stories and mock people.
Yeah, beside the point, John, if we had advertising, that's my point.
Oh, no, if we had advertising, we'd have been done years ago.
But it would, yes, we would have. And really what's happening now, and I've personally been preparing for this moment. Centralized services are just not the answer. Oh, wow, Parler's the solution to Twitter. No, it's not. Centralized services are just not the answer. And thank goodness we've figured out different ways to do it. And thank you to all of our dudes and dudettes. Everyone who's running stuff, running No Agenda Social, running websites, running the servers, all of that. And even if, this Amazon thing, that's pretty interesting. It's one thing to have Apple say, oh, we can't have this app in the App Store because it may potentially connect you to harmful speech, which is truly what they're saying. And they did that the same with...
That's pathetic.
It is. It's another for Amazon to say, well, we just can't host you on... they're using Amazon AWS, Amazon Web Services, S3 buckets. We were using those quite extensively up until about 2 months ago, and Dave Jones helped me move everything off onto different infrastructure. But didn't we discuss that on the show where someone had complained and Amazon sent me a note because the page that had the index to the show notes was linked to harmful content? And I got
I don't recall that.
Yeah, it was some automated note. Yeah, automated note, and then I replied, and then it was over. But that's the extent. DNS. If you have a no agenda domain name you're maintaining, make sure that it's current with a payment. DNS, they're going to go after name services. It's guaranteed. This every single thing that is happening now is, been ready for that. Knew that was going to happen. And people
the Amazon thing surprises me the most.
Oh, not at all. Really?
Yeah, it does. You can't say I'm not surprised.
I'm not, because I just told you the story where they contacted me about a complaint.
No, I know, but it still surprises me that Amazon would be political in just doing that. All they do is, it's AWS. They don't, it's not as though there's anything like Twitter.
Yeah, but you have to understand Amazon's game. They do not want anyone stirring up crap about how evil Amazon is, so that then people start to boycott their store. They have a dog in the hunt. And if there's if Parler's a big target, it's not the No Agenda show, I agree. Parler's a big target. Do you think that they want to listen to that? They're not going to take a stand on that. No way. No way. They're not going to take
surprised. I'm still irked that it's not pronounced parlay.
And we got a outreach from their from Parler's outreach director, who is married to one of our knights. Like, hey, so set you guys up on Parler, and I'll make sure you have a gold badge. And I said, so I can't speak for John, but I'm really not participating in social media. I use Twitter as an inbox for what it's worth, and I'm on No Agenda Social. But what's happening to you guys is, of course, completely bull crap. So I'll fight for them in that regard. I can use a
gold badge. I have a Parlay account.
Wait a minute. I shall grant it to you. There you go.
Grant me the great gold account.
You have a gold badge.
Yeah. No, that's taken care of. No problem. I don't want any badges. I don't want any of that.
You got no stinking badges.
So just a quick rundown of things, so we can just...
Another lost reference.
No, that's not a lost reference. No, do you remember what the actual reference was?
Yeah.
Okay, what was it?
It's from a movie. It's from the Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
Yeah. And that morphed into We Don't Need No Stinking Transmitters. It's an old podcasting thing, too. So, since everyone is emailing me a whole bunch of questions, and now we're awake, here's a list.
Emailing you questions about... Why don't you read a couple?
Well, I'm going to give the answers instead of... The questions are all very similar. So first of all, yes, Signal is always going to be better than WhatsApp or any other messaging system. Am I completely convinced it's cool and private? No. But for right now, that's definitely something you could use.
Yeah.
The phone that I'm using, which now a lot of people want, is a Pixel, which has been completely de-Googled and cloaked by installing Graphene OS and a couple other VPN like Pi-hole firewall stuff. And our producer at noagendaphone.com, from what I understand, is swamped. So we need, over on No Agenda Social, we need a couple more dudes named Ben to do these services for people, because it's kind of daunting to flash your phone. It's, the Find yourself a Ben or a Bernadette. And if you're one of those, make yourself available. Set up a Mastodon for your family. But don't be careful if you're getting something that's pre-hosted, because they're all social justice warriors now. I'm going to remove your Mastodon if you post something hateful. Figure out Linux. Learn how to set up a little Linux box. Get a Podcasting 2.0 app. Here's a thought. Learn how to buy Bitcoin. Figure out how to use it.
What's wrong with gold?
Well, gold is fine. It's not that easy to use at the moment. I'm saying fine. I'm just saying it. Gold is not that hard to understand how to use. Bitcoin.
I have a solution too.
What's that?
Put the phone in a drawer and leave it there.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely a good idea. That's a very good idea. A lot of people don't have that luxury. Like podcasters sitting at home, don't have to go anywhere. Get your ham radio license. Look at other email services. Proton, maybe. I think they're pretty good still. That's the kind of stuff that you need to do.
Well, Proton will end up in the same bucket as Hushmail.
What you mean, a good bucket?
No, they end up in a bucket. They get bought by somebody else, and that's the end of it.
Did Hushmail get bought?
I believe Hushmail got bought. They used to be the most secure of all of them.
What happened to Hushmail? I mean, obviously, what you want is you want to have a small group of people with someone who knows what they're doing, and, that person will run a small mail server. But the idea that we can have, please stop suggesting that no agenda show do an email server for everybody. Yeah, no.
We're not doing that.
Yeah, no.
That's not happening ever.
No, and nor should it. This is the whole point. You have to get your head out of the idea of centralized services. And the only thing that is, a lot of people I know are very, very upset about this. And the idea that big tech can do this is frightening to a lot of people. And I completely understand. We've been prepared. We've been talking about OTG for years. For years, we've been talking about this. We know
I'm an OTG kind of guy.
You are the proto OTG. You're better than I am because you put the phone in the drawer.
And leave it there.
Now, if we could help you hit the repeater nearby, you'd be perfect. And we're going to work on that part. But we've been preparing for this. You have to know that you're not silenced. You're not censored. The internet was built to route around bull crap like this. Twitter and Facebook, they're bugs in the system. They're bugs. They're not necessary.
The bugs are called the employees. The problem is, if they keep these employees out of the company to begin with, I mean, if you look at a picture of Jack Dorsey, the guy looks like he's beleaguered.
Mm. He looks, what's the word?
You're bullied by your own employees, and they can be they're bullies. These social justice warriors are just what they say they don't like. They're bullies, and they bully their own company. They're just stupid employees. No offense to stupid employees, but you get a paycheck. You're not a shareholder. Well, you might be a shareholder, but you're not a corporate executive. You're not a major shareholder. You're not running the company, but yet you run the company.
Yeah.
And get away with it. This is what happened with Dorsey. Suppose he got 350 letters or, internal memos because the company encourages this from a bunch of social justice warriors, so they can't put up with this anymore. They can't have this person on the platform. They can't have Trump on the platform. And Trump is the one they wanted to get rid of, and they finally got rid of him. To get rid of the president of the United States because you don't like him.
Yeah, but stop. This is what is different. This is not because we don't like him. This is because he incited an insurrection and had domestic terrorists come up. That's the constant message. I know it's not
surface. True. That's the surface. That's shallow. They don't like him.
I know of course, I understand the true meaning. Most people live on the surface. All they see is pictures associated with the word domestic terrorist, insurrection, incitement to violence. This is very, very damaging. Anyway, I do have the experts on this, Brian Stelter and Anderson Pooper, to give us a lowdown on exactly what's been happening with this deplatforming.
Oh, yeah, that's right. What am I thinking?
You know that they're the ones who know what's happening.
Brian, I just got word that minutes ago, apparently President Trump tried to tweet from the POTUS Twitter account. And correct me if I'm wrong, the Twitter immediately took it down. I mean,
yeah, the whole rule of this ban is if Trump tries to go on anybody else's account and post, this ban applies to any of those accounts. Now, these are the POTUS account, the White House account. These are U.S. government accounts.
Okay, and who's responsible?
Brian, I mean, this is going beyond just President Trump being banned from Twitter. The tech industry as a whole seems to be kind of waking up and taking some action.
Yes, Google has banned Parler, which is that newer social network.
Hold on, stop.
Like far right.
You'd think the way this would go would be just the opposite. The way it went, if you listen to it, it's like, oh, and they banned him. And now the tech industry is finally taking action. Like, this is a good thing?
Yes, they believe this is all fantastic. I was watching...
so they don't think this could happen to them?
No, they forget that. They forget. Of course they don't. First of all...
These guys should not, these guys should not be broadcasters.
They're not broadcasters. They're news models. Come on, we all know that. Now, this is what is... All right. So, the big tech controls the government. They control most of the congressmen, and just see what the actions of the politicians. We know the media's rule in this. The media's role is very obvious. They can also not live without big tech. They need the social media flow. It's really what's kept certainly the cable news outfits not just afloat, but in combination with Trump has been very, very successful for them in the past couple of years. So now big tech, Zuckerberg, Dorsey, these guys, these are not the vitriolic a-holes who want to rule the world. These are pitchmen. These are douchebags. Who knows what I mean, I would presume a lot of CIA, a lot of CIA money went into these organizations early on. So who knows how corrupt with the revolving door of intelligence agencies and little security firms. And, we go back and forth and we do all kinds of little deals. And, for instance, Chris Krebs, who was fired, he was the director of the CISA, the Cyber Infrastructure Security Administration, and he was on with Don Lemon, which that Don Lemon will of course bring you an intellectual conversation. And let's talk about how the tech industry is now going to hold people accountable.
This genie is out of the bottle now. So what can be done? Even if he gets up there and says that, which I highly doubt it. I mean, I'd like to be proven wrong, or proved wrong, but so what can be done now?
Well, today I think some of the social media platforms took a good first step in deplatforming the most active purveyors of nonsense, of garbage related to election claims, like these Dominion systems that were hacked. And also, Dominion filed a pretty hefty lawsuit today against Sidney Powell. These are all the right steps that we need to take to hold people accountable. But again, those objectors in the Senate and the House that fired this up on Wednesday, they also need to come clean and they need to denounce the objections. This is not just a federal issue. It's happening at the state halls of the legislatures and elsewhere. They need to denounce these actions. We need the networks or the edge fringe networks like Newsmax and OAN. They need to denounce this, and they will also be held accountable for this in courts of law. And ultimately, the president has, if he cares about this country, if he cares about democracy, he will do what's right, and he will announce
this guy
and accept his defeat.
This is Chris Krebs. This is the guy who said we had the most secure election in history. He was the guy that got fired and who worked at it was a Trump hire.
How did he get?
I'll tell you what. Here's his reward, John. His reward is in the interview.
You're already hearing the folks who have been giving the disinformation. Some of whom you mentioned there. It's you're trying to silence a certain group of people, conservatives. This is censorship and so on. But and I ask you that because your new firm is all about stopping cybersecurity threats.
His new firm.
This disinformation cesspool is now so vast that people are trying to blame the riots on Antifa. Some far-right social media users actually think that Trump's video statement yesterday is a deep fake. How long are we going to be dealing with the consequences of this, Chris?
So this specifically, it's a great question, and frankly, I don't know. I think there are immediate steps that can be taken that I just ticked off to ensure that there's no further bloodshed between now and the 20th. But what happens over the next 4 years if there is some element of the Republican Party that clings to a nonsense lost cause narrative? I mean, look at it. You saw the Confederate flag in the Capitol building on Wednesday. They didn't get there in the 1860s, and yet they're there now. None of this makes sense. We have to put an end to it. Responsible adults, responsible elected officials need to step up and take back their party and stop being intimidated by these voices on the well, I used to say on the periphery, but now they're at the heart of it. Take back the party.
So I know you don't watch the cable news networks necessarily, but I'm a student of this, and I have watched hour after hour of the message being anchored in these viewers' heads that these supporters of President Trump are dangerous. They're insurrectionists. They're racist. They're Confederates. I mean, you can just keep on going down the line, and it's being anchored with images, still images. That's always the best. Throw in a couple of videos. I was watching CNBC, and I tried to find this clip. It was, I think, a Friday afternoon, and they had Barry Diller on, and I got in right where the point where Barry Diller is saying, "Hey, what we don't need an impeachment, 25th Amendment." At the time, he says the guy's got 12 days left. This is calm. Let's get ready for the new administration. And the news model hostess says, "Yeah, but this is not just about what happened at the Capitol. This is about the past 4 years. Doesn't he have to pay for the past 4 years?"
Oh, yeah.
And this is what I said to you. We have a Nazi party now, a Nazi wing amongst the Democratic Party, the leftists, the progressives, whatever you want to call it. And they are looking at people who supported President Trump, where they voted for him. It doesn't matter. I'm sure a lot of people think it of me. You used to be a Trump apologist. Now you're going to be a possible domestic terrorist. And in fact, they have a name. There's a new name that they've figured out. Chris Cuomo from CNN, always a good guy to launch a new term.
Part of what we have to do is have leaders call out what's wrong, specifically the culprits. And our new leader, President-elect Biden, did do that today.
I think the American public has a real good, clear look at who they are. They're part of the big lie. The big lie. Trump said that before he ran. If you say it enough, I'm going to convince you. I'll say it enough. The press is bad. The press is bad. The press is bad. The press is bad. If he's the only one saying it, that's one thing. But the acolytes that follow him, like Cruz and others, they are as responsible as he is. There are decent people out there who actually believe these lies because they've heard it again and again.
He's right. But there are others.
You stepped on it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just hold on.
But there are others. Retrumplicans.
Retrumplicans. Oh,
that's
so
going nowhere.
You think, huh? No, people are using it. I'm hearing it more and more. Let's go back to Anderson Cooper.
Hear it.
Okay, fine.
No, I'm just saying it's too stupid.
They're using it. I have other clips where they're using this.
They're stupid.
Yes, of course they're stupid, but I'm just not denying what I'm seeing in front of my face. Anderson Cooper made a huge mistake. You remember he was just completely unhinged about what happened? We played that clip. Now, what mistake did Anderson Cooper make? If you recall the clip, right, where they're going to go back to their to their motel rooms, and they're going to laugh about it, how good they were. You remember that clip?
No. Play it. Play it again.
Oh, okay. Well, let me find it for you then. Gosh, I thought you would have remembered it. He was the most unhinged on the last show.
Well, he's been unhinged in a lot of clips.
Yeah, let me see if I can find this.
It's like he's panicky. He's got, I don't know what his problem is. It's weird. Guys can hold it together. You're pro.
But he has no problem holding it together. He just made a mistake. Anyway, I'll tell you what he did. He made the seminal mistake of it wasn't a mistake to say these Retrumplicans are going to go back to their Motel 6 or whatever he said at the time, and he said they're going to go have dinner at the Olive Garden, and they're going to celebrate how they helped their president. I can't find the clip offhand. There's too many pooper names in the clip titles. But he made a huge mistake there, a massive mistake which you can never make on commercial television.
I should have been more clear with something I said in the immediate moments after the attack, as people who'd broken into the Capitol were simply being allowed to leave, it seemed, to just walk away, celebrating, in fact, the criminal act that they had taken part in. I was trying to remark about the seeming casualness of the behavior that we were all witnessing at that moment after the attack, the high-fiving, the laughing, the celebratory atmosphere as if they'd actually accomplished something other than just disgraceful mayhem. I said they should be ashamed of what they did, and I believe that. And I was trying to say, and perhaps didn't do a good job of it, that they were just going to go back to their lives that day as though they were patriots. They were going to go back to hotels and have a drink, have some dinner. I named the two hotels that I could think of in the Capitol Hill in that moment in the mall area. I named the Olive Garden as a restaurant they might eat at, normal places, as if this was just a normal day. I was actually thinking of another restaurant in that area with the name Olive in it, but in the moment, my brain froze. I couldn't remember the exact name. I said the Olive Garden. Turns out the nearest one is in Maryland.
He disparaged an advertiser.
He had to do a mea culpa.
He had to do a make good for the Olive Garden because they freaked out on him because the Olive Garden, he immediately associated the Olive Garden with anything Trump. Oh, they'll be doing make goods for a while, I think.
Free advertising for a year.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
That's pathetic.
Oh man, this is what we live for, John. It's going to be sad with what's going to happen economically and epidemiologically with a whole bunch of lialology. But it's going to be fun to see how these people tie themselves in knots trying to protect their own asses while disparaging other people. Eventually, the boomerang comes around. Here's an NBC Nightly News clip about Twitter and the Twitter employees that you were talking about.
Twitter, run by CEO Jack Dorsey, saying after close review of the president's recent tweets, it banned him due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Twitter specifically warning, quote, plans for future armed protests have already begun proliferating on and off Twitter, including a proposed secondary attack on the U.S.
Wait a minute. Did Twitter say that?
Future armed protests have of violence. Twitter specifically warning, quote, plans for future armed protests have already begun proliferating on and off Twitter.
How do they know what people are doing off Twitter? Just questioning.
Including a proposed secondary...
that's what you call good reporting.
...attack on the U.S. Capitol and state Capitol buildings on January 17th. After the ban, the president tried to tweet from other campaign and staff accounts, triggering a game of whack-a-mole, with Twitter quickly taking down his post.
Oh, they're such heroes on the front line, the Twitter people!
Many platforms have banned or restricted the president's accounts, including Facebook and Instagram, where he's blocked indefinitely and for at least the next 2 weeks. Because Twitter is a private company, experts say the removal of the president for violating their rules is not a violation of the First Amendment. The ban, which many argue came too late, was also instigated in part by Twitter staffers pressuring executives to delete the president's account. One employee telling NBC News, "A lot of us are so happy and so proud to work for a company that did the right thing."
Oh, so proud. Yeah, I remember when conservatives used to try and ban liberals. I mean, it was like movie theaters. We had movie ratings. Then it kind of crossed over. Tipper Gore, I would say, arguably was very conservative with the labeling of music. what comes around goes around. Anything you set in place now is going to eventually come around and hit you right in the face. It's so stupid and short-sighted. And I'm just happy that we can sit back here. Go ahead.
It's stupid and short-sighted, but it is, I have to say, it is fun.
It's entertaining as all heck, John.
Yeah.
Let's listen to the Black Information Network. Mo Kelly has something to say. This is recorded directly from a radio, so I don't have a clean recording, but you'll be able to hear it.
Trump campaign lawyer Jerome M. Marcus. No, Jerome is not black. I wondered too. He told a federal judge that he could no longer represent the president in his frivolous Pennsylvania lawsuits, saying his work was used by Donald Trump to criminally incite the Trumplicans' attack on the Capitol.
Oops. Did I hear the Trumplicans in the wild? Yes, I did.
Just because you pulled a few of these clips, I'm going to ask you in a month.
Okay.
If you start hearing it.
Okay.
It will be gone by then.
Okay, possibly.
Used by Donald Trump to criminally incite the Trumplicans' attack on the Capitol. Donald Trump wasn't some unknown quantity up until yesterday. His lies, incitation, and violent rhetoric were on public display since 2015. He was an unstable former TV game show host. And you all thought that dude was better for America than Hillary Clinton. You all offered a part to help build the proverbial bomb. And now that it's gone off, you want to tell us bombs are bad. No, you did this. You don't get to escape the permanent stain of this. I'm Mo Kelly, at Mr. Mo Kelly on Twitter and Instagram, and that's your 2-minute warning on the Black Information Network.
Yeah.
Clown.
Yeah. Oh, there's more. It's fantastic. This is TNT.
Piling on. The guy's out of office in 11 days, so now let's go after him.
But John, it's not
it's
just
amazing
him.
Heroism here we're seeing.
Yeah. Oh, yes. But you have to understand, this is not about, of course it's about Trump, and I'm sure they want him either impeached or 25th Amendmented so that he can no longer hold public office. That may be part of it. All of that's fine. But the demonization of anyone who ever said anything positive, even considered listening to something that Trump said, we are in the middle of a civil information war entirely, and that eventually spills over. But this is disparaging of all people who just have different thoughts than the news models of the world. And that's the part that is dangerous. This is TNT, Tip-Off. It's a basketball show.
Look, I was excited to be here to talk basketball, but the world has dramatically changed in the last 48 hours. Tuesday, all eyes were...
Now, you got to notice this. Listen to what happens here.
I saw this. I saw it in real time.
What I love about this is I just have a little bit of it, 50 seconds. He pretends like, I just got to say something, and cue the music. They bring in the sappy music. It's completely produced, completely written.
Look, I was excited to be here to talk basketball, but the world has dramatically changed in the last 48 hours. Tuesday, all eyes were here on Georgia as history was made. Raphael Warnock became the first African-American to win a Senate race in the state, and John Ossoff, another Democrat, won the state's other Senate seat. These were landmark victories that both the NBA and WNBA played a part in, but things quickly shifted Wednesday to Washington, D.C., where supporters of President Trump tried to disrupt the certification of the Electoral College by storming the nation's capital. It was a shocking and brazen attack on our democracy as these domestic terrorists breached security and invaded both the Senate and the House. 5 people lost their lives, including a U.S. Capitol policeman, as the world watched in horror.
That's the stuff that is very, very dangerous to be saying. And they should be ashamed of themselves.
I got to stop that clip and give you a little background. You don't understand that clip. And I'm not saying you don't understand.
No, I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
But on the surface, that clip is misleading because this was a very strange show. And this show is normally 3 basketball players who are going after each other, usually in a goofball way, with a white guy, Ernie, that's running it. And he's the guy, the man in the middle. And it's kind of a comedy show in some funny way. And out of the blue, they brought this joker in, who is the guy that you played that clip of, that's the guy who is the co-host of Entertainment Tonight. He has absolutely nothing to do with that show.
So it's even worse than I thought.
Oh, I would agree. It's actually worse than you thought. So they dropped this guy in the show. The three other guys, Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal, and I hate to forget the third guy's name, but he's always there. Anyway, they're kind of baffled by this themselves. And at some point, this guy, who's there for some reason, I did miss the very, very, very beginning of the show. It's about a 4-part show. They break it down over where they play basketball games in the middle. And so I don't know the premise at the beginning. But this guy goes over and he goes to the big giant screen to point something out. He's got the Entertainment Tonight logo up there. And at some point he says something, and Shaquille O'Neal says, there's this real voice.
What?
Because he's like what you would call a puker. He's got this phony voice that he uses.
Right.
And he dropped out of it for a split second. He dropped right back into it.
Normal. That's funny.
Unfortunately, I didn't notice what the difference was. But this was a phony baloney setup. And the guys, the basketball players, were more than happy to talk politics and give their opinions. And then they made sure to bring the most radical opinion was a clip from Draymond Green of the Warriors, who wasn't there, but they played this clip because he called them. He's the one who used the coup. He used domestic terrorists. They're terrorists. And the whole thing was a setup. This is a TNT management thing.
Of course.
And it was really pathetic. I think it hurt the show, to be honest about it.
That's the beauty of what's happening, especially when you do it in that form, where I think people just want to see basketball or hear about basketball or hear what they're joking about.
Yeah, I don't want to hear this, and I don't want to see this guy. This guy doesn't know jack about basketball. He's a spokeshole.
And in the infamous words of Magic Johnson, Republicans buy Nikes too, you idiots. That's where this is going. Tim Cook, Republicans and conservatives and libertarians, and also whack job wingnuts, Trump apologists like myself. We used to buy iPhones. This is it's really interesting to see how, did you see Forbes magazine? Forbes, a whole op-ed, how I should bring it up here, how any company or CEO or officer of an organization, if they help Trump in any way, we're going to rip you apart with our reporting. We're going to overturn every single stone until we find out any corruption that's going on in your company. And another Pabst Blue Ribbon splits open early in the morning, everybody.
These are cans of Talking Rain.
Talking Rain?
Yeah.
Do tell. What is that?
Talking
water?
Rain is a water from Pacific Northwest that the grocery outlet has on sale. So you buy, I swear to God, you buy a giant case of this stuff for $2.95.
Oh, good deal.
It's a nice sparkling water. It's tasty.
Okay, Forbes. I have to share some of this with you. Holding those who lied for Trump accountable. And this is written by
Forbes, which used to represent the Republican Party.
Written by Randall Lane, who his byline here, I am Chief Content Officer and Editor of Forbes and post on business, philanthropy, and food. So he
oh God,
he has some standing. I just got to read some of this. Yesterday's insurrection was rooted in lies, that a fair election was stolen, that a significant defeat was actually a landslide victory, that the world's oldest democracy ingeniously...
What?
I know. This is Forbes, the world's oldest democracy. Would you like to counter that point, John C. Dvorak? Professor Dvorak.
How about Greece? 2,000 years ago. How about Greece? Iceland is a longer-lived democracy than we have by hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm. But Forbes, you'd think they know. Do they have Wikipedia?
No. Somebody, probably the collective unconscious of the original Forbes knows, but apparently this guy doesn't know. And I said apparently twice.
Yeah, it's okay.
Somehow.
You could work for Forbes. that the world's oldest democracy, ingeniously insulated via autonomous state voting regimens, is a rigged system. Such lies upon lies repeated frequently and fervently, providing the kindling, the spark, the gasoline. Now let me go down. It gets so...
I'll keep reading it. This is great.
Okay. I love reading to you. That Donald Trump devolved from commander-in-chief to liar-in-chief didn't surprise Forbes, as we chronicled early and often for all his...
liar-in-chief?
Yes. He devolved from commander-in-chief to liar-in-chief. Tell me why you find that... You're a journalist and a writer and a columnist, so I want to know the inside humor of that.
It's foolish. It's an extremely this is like a high schooler. It's just ludicrous that anyone would write like this.
But he writes about food.
Oh, well, so do I, but so what?
All right.
By the way, anyone can write about food.
As we've chronicled early and often, for all his billions and Barnum-like abilities, he has been shamelessly exaggerating and prevaricating to our faces. What's prevaricating mean?
Prevaricating. I know what it means internally, but I can't give you a surface definition right now. But
speak or act in an evasive way.
Yeah. Okay.
He's been shamelessly exaggerating and prevaricating to our faces for almost 4 decades. More astonishing, the number of people willing to lend credence to that obvious mendacity on his behalf. In this time of transition and pain, reinvigorating democracy requires a reckoning, a truth reckoning, starting with the people who...
Starting with you, buddy.
Starting with the people paid by the people to inform the people. What? As someone in the business of facts, it's been especially painful to watch President Trump's press secretaries debase themselves. Yes, as with their political bosses, spins and omissions and exaggerations are part of the game. But ultimately in PR, core credibility is the coin of the realm. Then they go into a whole thing about how, Sean Spicer, Sarah, all disparaging about Sarah Huckabee. And we'll go past all that and get to the payoff. Also, Kayleigh McEnany. Let me see if she has something to say there. Her successor, Stephanie Grisham, over the course of a year, never held a press conference, even though the BS continued unabated across friendly outlets. And finally, Kayleigh McEnany, Harvard Law graduate, a propaganda prodigy at 32, who makes smiling falsehood an art form. All of this magnified by journalists too often followed an old playbook ill-prepared for an Orwellian communication era. As American democracy rebounds, we return to a standard of truth when it comes to how the government communicates with the governed. The easiest way to do that from where I sit is to create repercussions for those who don't follow the civic norms. Trump's lawyers lie gleefully to the press and public, but those lies magically almost never made it into briefs and arguments. Contempt, perjury, and disbarment keep the professional standards high. So, what's the parallel in the dark arts of communication? Simple. Don't let the chronic liars cash in on their dishonesty. Press secretaries like Joe Lockhart, Ari Fleischer, and Jay Carney, who left the White House with their reputations in various stages of intact, made millions taking their skills and credibility to corporate America. Trump's liars don't merit that same golden parachute. Let it be known to the business world. Hire any of Trump's fellow fabulous above, and Forbes will assume that everything your company or firm talks about is a lie. We're going to scrutinize, double-check, investigate with the same skepticism we'd approach a Trump tweet. Want to ensure the world's biggest media brand approaches you as a potential funnel of disinformation? Then hire away. This isn't cancel culture. It's societal blight. There's surely a nice living for each of these press secretaries on the true believer circuit. Nor is this politically motivated, as Forbes' pro-entrepreneur, pro-growth worldview has generally placed it in the right-of-center camp over the past century. This standard needs to apply to liars from either party. It's just a realization that, as Daniel Patrick Moynihan famously said, in a thriving democracy, everyone is entitled to their own opinions, but not their own facts. Our national reset starts there. Follow me on Twitter.
It says follow me on Twitter at the end?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Cancel culture. Cancel culture. Cancel culture.
Now, if you want to, my final unhinged rant, although there's other fun things and later topics, is
I have
Keith
a couple
Olbermann.
clips on this topic, by the way.
Yeah, sure.
But before you do that, this guy should be fired immediately.
He's going to get a bonus.
No, not if Forbes is run by the same people I know it used to be run by. The real owners of that company. They're Republicans. They're not going to put up with this guy. This guy is just hurt the brand. He has hurt the magazine. He may have killed it.
I think that's what he did.
You can't make that kind of threat.
To your actual customers who advertise, pay to be in it, cozy up to be a part of it.
Oh, I would if I was an advertiser, I'd be out of that magazine instantly.
Do you want to hear what
Instantly.
Do you want to hear what teachers being told to tell their high school students?
Do I want to hear it?
I think it's important you do.
Well, I'm going to have to hear it, obviously, but I don't want to hear it. But I'm going to have to hear it because you're going to tell me.
And I've received a copy of the original email and a PDF. As an aside, there's a lot of information coming out. A lot of things are happening. The producers of Gitmo Nation are doing a very good job at digging stuff up. You have to go one step further. The vaccine adverse reaction database turns out that wasn't only the COVID vaccine, it was for all vaccines, which doesn't bode well, by the way. So the vaccines that we actually all think are groovy are causing 45,000 adverse reactions. We have to do a little better on the fact checking. I can't fact check everything. And if you're disappointed,
I'm annoyed by producers who send in half-baked stuff. Really do. Really.
Well, and I just don't
have...
have
more of a waste of my time than it is anything.
You have to go back and correct it. I feel like a schmuck. I can't check everything. Some things I will take at face value, and we just have to be better. If you find a cool article, look for the article that it was stolen from. Go down 3 layers to get to the original. You'd be surprised what you find. Often a clip. Okay, so that's just productive feedback. So this is an actual note to a teachers association. I'm going to keep it anonymous, but the actual text will be in the show notes. This is to teachers. The siege on our nation's capital this week was an affront to American democracy, pure and simple. But for us as educators, it is a moment we must reckon with as we work with students who saw something unimaginable happening in our country, an act of open sedition at the temple of our democracy. In that vein, I want to share some helpful resources for talking with students about this week's riot in Washington, D.C. Wednesday's actions were inexcusable, both by the rioters and the president who incited them, and there must be ramifications. Those who participated in the insurrection must be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Even this bothers me. So people who were just there, just mulling around, who were half a mile away, but were basically in a crowd. Yeah. Even with less than 2 weeks remaining in office, President Trump must be held accountable for his words and actions, both in inciting Wednesday's riot, really, and his baseless attacks on the outcomes of a fair election. As such, I am sharing with you a statement
There's
released...
the word baseless against it. Baseless is the key word here. You hear it.
Yeah.
Constantly.
But it's not baseless.
No. Well, you can't say there's a baseless accusation unless you've proven it one way or the other. No one's done that.
But also baseless means you have nothing to go on, and there's plenty of stuff they've had to go on.
Yeah. Everyone uses baseless. Baseless is the most popular word. That should be the next Merriam-Webster word of the year, the way it's been going. Baseless, baseless, baseless.
As such,
and what difference? And why do you use the word baseless? You could just leave it out, and the sentence makes the exact same sense. You're only using baseless because it's loaded.
Yeah.
People who use basics, especially journalists who use baseless, are only using it because it's loaded. You can read that exact same sentence without the word baseless, and the sentence does not change.
Even with less than 2 weeks remaining in office, President Trump must be held accountable for his words and actions, both in inciting Wednesday's riot and attacks on the outcomes of a fair election. It's better with baseless. It sounds that much cooler.
What you just read sounds like somebody's got their head on straight.
I think the baseless...
You took the word baseless out.
Yeah.
If you take the word baseless out of all of this, it would actually have more impact.
Baseless, to me, it's virtue signaling.
I agree. It's 100% virtue signaling. Look, I'm on the same team as you. I'm using the word baseless.
And I think it's a virtue signal to say, I've read into the material. You know what I mean? Really? It's baseless, okay? I'm a teacher. As such, I am sharing with you a statement released tonight by the NEA president. Is that the National Education Association?
Yes.
President Becky Pringle of the CHIPS. Becky Pringle, calling for the president to be removed from office. Oh, Becky has something to say.
Becky.
Becky has something.
That's a union, by the way.
Oh, there you go. Our nation is based... It's not baseless. Our nation is based on a promise that every single person, here we go, Black, Latino, AX, that's cool, Latino/A/X, nice, Asian, Native, white, regardless of wealth, can pursue a better tomorrow. That promise is in jeopardy because President Donald Trump and his allies refuse to accept the will of the people and have endangered Americans and American democracy.
How does A refer to B? This makes no sense what she just said. How is anything under threat because Trump's complaining?
Well, because he's a racist, and this is... I mean, you've seen the whole insurrection go to race-based riots. You know, be careful, black people. The insurrectionists are coming to get you. These people. These people should be. These people are a menace to society. What clip you got? They are as a menace. And this is.
That's actually the funniest thing you've said for a month. They're a menace to society. These people. It's so simple. It's so obvious. I agree, 100%.
They have a link to some resources. I can't even. It's so crazy.
A menace to society. I just love that.
To protect our democracy, ensure the safety of our nation. The safety of our nation. It's at stake. This is more dangerous than COVID. It bumped COVID off the map. The National Education Association is calling for the immediate removal of Donald Trump from the office of the president. Yesterday wasn't the first heinous and anti-democratic act of violence directed by the current president and his allies, and it won't be the last if he isn't removed from office now. Remember, he's got the nuke codes. He's going to go crazy. But our children...
Well, this is all... If you haven't noticed, this is almost like people who write stories, there's a ring theory of writing where you start pretty much with the exact same thing you end with. Mm-hmm. And, in fact, public speakers are always told to use a ring structure. But this is the ring structure we're witnessing. Everything what you just said is just one of the many elements that we pinpointed 4 years ago on the Trump rotation.
Oh, sure.
Everything on the Trump rotation is coming around and it's being reiterated during this last 10 days. They can't get it out of their system. Hopefully that wraps it.
So oh no, this is not going to wrap anything. This is only just beginning. So there's a resource sheet for teachers on the days after the attack on the U.S. Capitol. A resource. Yeah.
Yeah, anything to keep actually teaching kids how to do math.
No. There'll be none of that. Note to black teachers, I hope you have time and space to care for yourselves as you support your students. I hope that you
say that on there?
Yes, John.
Note to black teachers?
On the resources page, yes. Yeah, wait for it. I hope that you have...
Insult.
I hope that you have white colleagues who are talking about this too, so you don't have to be the only one. I hope that you can find...
You poor thing.
Exactly. It's the most patronizing
bullshit.
Yes.
These people should be ashamed of themselves. They're the racists.
Hello. Note to white teachers of white students. It's different notes here. You have, uppercase, to talk about what is happening. This is on us. Every time and all the time. We cannot pretend to be surprised anymore. We have to do what we said we were going to do all summer when we were reading those anti-racist books and completing those anti-racism checklists. Our white students are not too young to learn about this. Get them started early. You're in kindergarten? You're racist. Notes. Hey, kid, get off that swing, you racist piece of crap. Note to white teachers of students of color, especially black students. Oh, my goodness. What shade? Please tell me what shade. Is it Kamala Harris black? And I'm confused as a teacher of students of color, also known as colored students. These people are racist. Please make sure you know what you're doing before you do it. Please make sure you know how to support your black students and the other students of color if you try to have these conversations. Make sure you do not do more harm by entering into these conversations without careful thought and planning. Ideas/resources/links in comments on Facebook will be updated throughout the evening on our educators group. Oh my God. And it's just it's filled with stuff that it would only make you angry when you hear this. Oh, what is this? For teachers of the youngest learners, this is a great 60-second text from the wonderful woke kindergarten. The wonderful woke kindergarten. Hold on. This is something that I'm just seeing
Where'd
now.
you get this from?
Well, this is in the resources sheet. Hold on a second. Let me.
Woke kindergarten?
Yeah, it's on Facebag.
I would run from that like no tomorrow.
Is it a video or is it just? Oh no, it's a video.
Bring your children to the woke kindergarten.
Hold on, it's a video. Let me get this playing.
They can come back home and rebuke you.
By key, woke kindergarten. Can you spot the difference?
Okay, that's horrible. All right, so I don't know what they're doing over there, but yeah, the woke kindergarten on their Facebook page. It's a wonderful resource for your kindergartners, don't you see? Anyway, yeah, it's funny, but on the other hand, man, what are we doing? What are we?
Come on, it's hilarious. It's not just funny.
No, you want to hear hilarious? Keith Olbermann takes the cake, I think, on the rant, and Keith
Olbermann he's got bipolar or something. Something's wrong with him.
He's on the roof of, I presume, his apartment, maybe.
Olbermann. Let's get that right.
What did I say?
Olbermann.
I said Olbermann.
Okay, well, what?
I think he's been lost.
He's on the roof, you said?
Yeah,
he's on the ledge yelling.
He's been removed from some of the consciousness of many. I'm not quite sure who he does his videos for. It may be just himself, but it had 90,000 views, so I figured it was worth playing.
There's a lot of people that are big fans of his rants. They're actually well structured.
Well, enjoy this one then.
This is Olbermann versus Trump. Early this morning, Joe Biden's Electoral College victory was finally certified by Congress, and thus the United States of America has survived a terrorist attack orchestrated by the President of the United States of America. This was Donald Trump's 9/11. He must be removed from office immediately. The 25th Amendment has been demanded by House Judiciary Democrats, suggested by the Conservative National Association of Manufacturers, and reportedly discussed by Republican leadership and even in the White House itself. The 25th Amendment will do, for now. But sadly, this is not merely about one madman. There are Trump's terrorists who went into the Capitol, who threatened state capitals. Only 52 of them were arrested as the Capitol Police, some sympathetic to the terrorists, utterly failed. 2 weeks from now, the hundreds of others who invaded our Capitol will have to face charges of attempting to overthrow our government. Happily, their own social media feeds will be enough to convict them. However, yesterday, January 6th, 2021, a date which will live in infamy, the United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by the forces of Donald Trump. Last night, with blood still figuratively in the halls of the Capitol, 121 Republican congressmen and 6 Republican senators still voted to give Trump's terrorists exactly what they wanted, overturning the Electoral College vote. 127 Republicans, all told, from Senator Hawley, who just before all the nightmares came true, had given a closed-fisted salute to Trump's terrorists. From him to Congressman Gates of Florida, who insisted to the House last night that those who tried to violently overthrow the government of the United States were actually leftists in disguises. Happily, Congresswoman Cori Bush is drawing up a bill of expulsion for all members of Congress who helped to incite the attack on the Capitol. Be of good cheer. All this will end with Joe Biden inaugurated, democracy victorious, the coup disemboweled, and the traitors facing trial. And now it will be up to the rest of us to end the careers of those Republican collaborators. Good night and good luck.
Oh, thank you. You're such a freedom fighter. You're on the right side of history, Keith.
It's like unbelievable. I mean, it's a piece of propaganda, the way he uses the right words, he puts them in the right place.
Yeah.
Very well. He's an expert at this. He would have been very comfortable in Nazi Germany working for Goebbels.
Yes. And,
Goebbels.
And we're going to see companies, just regular old companies, being encouraged to create snitches inside their organizations.
Meanwhile, police departments are investigating their own officers who were in D.C. on Wednesday. Former FBI counterterrorism director Frank Figliuzzi.
I'd like to be able to say that we have neutralized this threat and brought it to a halt, but the reality is this threat will continue, and we've merely pressed the pause button on this.
And Tom joins us now from Capitol Hill. Tom, remind our viewers what charges these rioters are facing.
Election interference, obstruction of Congress, sedition, insurrection, conspiracy. There's a real concern here that this isn't just a riot that got out of control with 5 people dead. This is an ongoing plot.
Sedition? Is sedition, is that really applicable here? Sedition?
I don't think so, but let's play a couple of clips of mine.
Sure.
I want to get the cup. These are just informational clips. I want to get them out of the way. Let's do the one. This is this guy, ex-DOJ guy, that goes on and explains the 25th Amendment on Fox. This is Jim Trusty, DOJ on 25th Amendment, so we can get that out of the way.
Questions here. 25th Amendment, word from the White House. Don't expect that from the VP Pence. You agree on that?
Right. Basic sanity check for Pence. I mean, the 25th Amendment is about incapacitation of the president. It's literally when the president's on an operating table or he's in a coma or there's some dramatic loss of consciousness that means the country has to be run by somebody else. It is not, as I think Dana Perino said the other night, it's not a recall vote or a European-style no confidence type proceeding. It's based on literal incapacitation, and we don't have that here, no matter what people think about Trump.
Headline from CNN: Pence has not ruled out 25th Amendment. Source says.
Yeah,
source says. Source says.
25th Amendment. So let's just I want these clips to get people so they understand that this is bullshit. And so they're just a big bunch of talkers. Let's listen to the same guy talking about impeachment.
Start with impeachment. How is this, or do you see it to be real?
Well, I think it's real that it might be coming next week, but I do think it's a real exercise in frivolity. I mean, look, the first impeachment process, I feel very strongly, cheapened the process. It was a misguided effort to basically have...
We got gypped. I want my money back on that one. That was not good.
A recall vote at Donald Trump's expense. And a lot of the people that watched it as legal observers, I think, reached the same conclusion that this really did cheapen the currency because there wasn't a clear crime that was committed to start this in motion. Now we're in a position where 12 days out, politicians are stoking the flames of discontent by talking about impeachment and calling it a snap impeachment. That's an oxymoron. There shouldn't be any such thing as a snap impeachment when it's such a weighty constitutional moment. So it may happen. I think it's another
on the House side. It could happen, to be clear. It's not going anywhere in the Senate, right?
Well, one would think not. I mean, they're not even in session. But I think Chad's comments about the process are right, that you essentially have an immediate handoff to the Senate for trial. But the idea of rushing this together because there's anger about Donald Trump's comments or Donald Trump's reactions to the riot is just a terrible idea. It's not the stuff of impeachment.
Yeah. But that's not being sold that way. What I'm hearing is he is deranged. He has his hand on the codes. I mean, this is every headline this morning. So what is it?
There's some evidence that Pelosi, by asking the military to get the code to football back from the president,
that's an insurrection.
That's an insurrection. That's a coup. And that's what one of the generals, I think Miley, told her.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking us to perform a coup against the president? I said, is that what you want? Oh, well, maybe not.
What do you think? But what do you think it is, John? Do you think they're so out of touch that they really believe that that they need to show this? I mean, what can it be? It's either fear or it's extreme revenge. Vitriol.
Well, I think there's an element of revenge, but there is the fear is that he's going to start letting documents out. He's going to start declassifying like a madman.
Right. Well, that doesn't mean the documents get out, trouble. As we know. I mean, he's declassified.
I don't know why he hasn't done that already. I said this before. I said in the last show. A couple of things that mystify me. Why hasn't he done that already is one of them. The other one is why hasn't he pardoned Assange and Snowden, which would have benefited him in the election by a lot, but he didn't do any of these things. So he's still being controlled by someone telling him, no, you can't do that because no, you don't want to do that. You're going to get in trouble.
What would the downside ever be? Well, I guess for the intelligence services, I guess that would really piss him off. Yeah. So what? Screw these dicks. What? Screw these dicks. How much worse can it get? But it just seems a little unhinged unless you have some real fear that he's going to do something and it's being sold to the public in headline media that he has his hands on the code and he could blow everybody up. I mean, what else could it be? Is there something we're missing?
It's just that there's some classified information they don't want out.
Yeah.
That he may have been threatening him with all along. I don't know. Something we're never going to find out unless he does something.
If Trump had any compromat on these jamokes, then he would have been more successful. No, I don't think he has any.
I agree. In fact, the thing about a rigged election, it usually doesn't go with the party coming in. It's usually the party that's established.
Right.
I want to play the two things which I think are kind of... We talked about Parler earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They had the woman that's one of the principals of the company had her on Tucker's show. And I thought it was interesting.
Yes, that was.
She talks about what they're up to and how it's a bad thing, and Tucker goes off the deep end with complaining about it. I also have a Tucker. I thought it's about a 10-minute Tucker editorial, but I clipped it about a couple 2-minute clips out of it. That I thought was one of the best things he's ever done. And it's almost like a swan song.
I saw this, and I agree. And Tina and I were sitting there going, that's actually pretty good. What he did. And most of his show is just blah. You know, he rarely has any interesting guests on.
You want to play that? I clipped it at the very end where he actually wraps it where it's good. You can't listen to the whole thing.
And it goes against all rules of the show.
Does it?
No, just wanted to say it.
Oh, you mean? You get me? Yeah, it's funny. It goes all over. You mean Tucker pontificating about his feelings?
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff we typically won't play on the show. Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is a violation of our show, but let's play the good Tucker editorial part 1.
The Trump protest at the Capitol yesterday is already being used as a pretext for an unprecedented crackdown on civil liberties. Just in the last several hours, we have heard people in positions of power and authority demand that those who support Donald Trump should no longer be allowed to publish books or use the internet or fly on airplanes. Driving cars, holding jobs, staying in hotels, those will certainly be next, and we're barely exaggerating. In fact, we're predicting it. To justify mind-bending, terrifyingly un-American demands like these, they are, as usual, relying on lies and hysteria. What happened yesterday, telling us, wasn't simply that a political protest got out of hand after the president recklessly encouraged it. That is, in fact, what happened. But it's not what they're saying. Instead, they're calling it domestic terrorism. CNN describes it as an insurrection. Chuck Schumer likened it to Pearl Harbor. It was really our generation's 9/11. And needless to say, it was white supremacy. Today, to name just one small but revealing example, the Berkshire School in Massachusetts, a boarding school that costs $64,000 a year to attend, sent a letter to parents describing what happened yesterday as, quote, these acts of violence and racism. Now, if you're a literal person tied to outdated Western notions of linear thought and fact, that might confuse you. Racism? Whatever you thought about what happened yesterday, what was racist about it? Well, nothing, of course. There was nothing racist about it. The Berkshire School is lying. So is everyone else on the left. Why are they doing that? Simple. They know that if they keep saying it, history will record it as true. They understand, in other words, the power of language, and that's why they try to control language. They know that words have consequences. This is scary. In the face of it, the party that should be stepping in to stop it, to push back, to tell the truth in the face of lies, and to protect its voters from this deception and the destruction that inevitably comes next, that party does nothing. Often, in fact, they join in. This afternoon, a group of Republican staffers on Capitol Hill, lawyers who work for Republican elected officials, texted each other and concluded that actually, now that we think about it, yesterday's protest rally really was racist. Yeah, it was racist. Those are the people protecting you. With bodyguards like this, tens of millions of Americans have no chance. They're about to be crushed by the ascendant left. The people say, well, I don't think they should be allowed to fly on airplanes. What country is this?
That's actually true. The flight attendants union, they came out with a statement. Our first priority in aviation safety and security is to keep any problems on the ground. Some of the people who traveled on our planes yesterday participated in the insurrection at the Capitol today. Their violent and seditious actions at the Capitol today create further concern about their departure from the D.C. area. Acts against our democracy, our government, and the freedom we claim as Americans must disqualify these individuals from the freedom of flight. And they did. They left people at the gate. They would not let them board.
How would they know?
They had Trump hats on.
Hat?
Yeah.
You got a Trump hat on?
This is so analogous.
You wear a Trump hat, you can't fly American.
This is so analogous to the Reichstag fire, which happened around an election, although Hitler had already been elected, I think, a month before. And it was used as a predicate to go after, in that case, the Communist Party, von der Lubbe and the targets at the time. And many historians believe that was a false flag event, and it was and I happen to agree with that it was done to trigger a lot of things that started happening in Nazi Germany. So, forget the right, left, communist, capitalist. This seems very similar in its on its face.
Well, these people are crazy. So let's listen to Tucker. What did I say? Who's
I don't know. Biden? I don't know why you said that. Mm-hmm. Got Hunter on the mind. Biden on the brain.
The Biden crime family. Tucker's. I thought he was when he said that it's language and the historians are going to see this and they're going to make these conclusions. He's not understanding. He's not understanding how historians work.
He's also an elitist trust fund baby.
The opposite would, by the way, just the opposite would be the case. So let's go, and he gets actually better as he wraps this thing.
These people need a defender. You need a defender. Why is no one defending them? The main problem, and this really is the main problem, on the right anyway, the people who run the Republican Party don't really like their own voters. And they especially don't want the voters that Trump brought. Trump brought the party's ranks noticeably downscale, from the country club to the trailer park, as they often sneer, and this horrifies them. Many Republicans in Washington now despise the people they're supposed to represent and protect. And by the way, it's not just Republican leaders who feel this way. It's our entire leadership class. It's everyone in charge. You rarely hear it spoken out loud, but this is the truth. A very specific form of intra-white loathing is at the core of the reaction to Donald Trump. Here's what it is. Nothing is more repulsive to socially anxious white professionals than working-class people who look like them. Trolls are their single greatest fear. They remind them of where they may have come from or where they could be going if things turn south. So if you want to understand the hatred, the real hatred, not just disagreement, but gut-level loathing and fear of Trump in, say, New York or Washington or L.A., you got to understand that first. It's not really Trump. It's his voters. The new money class despises them. Trump didn't despise them, and that really was his secret in the end. He didn't have much in some ways, but Donald Trump did not judge his own voters. In real life, Trump actually ate McDonald's. That's true, and they knew it was true, and they were very grateful for it. And you'd be grateful for it, too, if everyone else hated you. Pretty soon, like 13 days from now, these voters, tens of millions of them, will not have Donald Trump to protect them. They won't have anyone. And unless the Republican Party decides to wake up and push back against the lies in progress and acknowledge the purpose of those lies, which is an unprecedented crackdown on the way you live, you will have no chance either.
If you're white, you're a racist. If you're male, you're a pig. If you're cis, you are privileged. Skinny shaming if you're big. And if you're straight, you're homophobic. Heaven help if you're wrong. So don't have an opinion and just do what you're told.
It's not like we haven't been looking at this happening right in front of our very eyes for quite a while now. But it's not even political, John. I think it truly is, as Tucker said there. Part of it's just skin color, which is just, that's really like, what? Gosh.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was one of his better pieces.
Tina and I both sat, and Tina has very little patience for any kind of news stuff anymore at all. Sorry?
I can see getting hooked into this, which I started listening to it, and I'd like to know who wrote it, because it wasn't Tucker.
Right. Probably not.
And whoever wrote it did a tremendous job, and Tucker may have beefed it up so it was a little more compelling, but it was definitely nailed. And I've always felt this way since the get-go. When Trump came along, this was which irked everybody. They wanted Jeb Bush to be the president.
It's classist. It's classist. It's truly the elites versus the regular Joes. And I read another analysis, and this happens in societies. I think this happened in Rome, ancient Rome. We have too many elites. In fact, this has happened in many times throughout history. There's too many people who have $1 million or more. There's just
now it's $1 billion.
Yeah, now it's $1 billion, but there's no room for the elites anymore. So they everyone's fighting for that position, and they don't want to be kicked off that island down where we podcasters live.
Kind of,
yeah.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
I will say this: that the billionaire boom. Really, I witnessed the whole thing, because when I first started working for PC Magazine in 1986, I came over from InfoWar. In 1986, Bill Ziff was a billionaire.
Right.
And he was one of the few billionaires in the world. I met another billionaire when I was in Taiwan. The guy who ran Evergreen Shipping. He was an old Chinese guy, and he was a billionaire. And the number of billionaires at the time was minimal. Bill Gates, I don't even think, was a billionaire at the time. There was hardly Andy, the Forbes, people have to go back and look at the old Forbes list. There was a few dozen, maybe a maximum of 20 in the world. Now there's 200.
Yeah.
Or 300.
And pretty much every single one of them. So, I mean, you've met, weren't we hanging out somewhere and you were with, is Hearst a billionaire? He's rich though, right? He's not a billionaire.
Hearst is a multi-billionaire because of his two things. One, he's all the Hearsts are part of this trust, and they all get a stipend. But his dad, William Randolph Hearst Jr., he took his stipend, and he also paid himself a salary when he was publisher of some of the newspapers.
Why not?
So besides the stipend, unlike some others that only got the stipend, he started investing his money. Will's worth about $10 billion.
So
all inheritance.
So I can just recall there was a retreat or something, and you were there with Hearst. Bloom was there. Bloom got into some argument with him, which was typical for Bloom. But I remember, look, I've met billionaires. They can be total assholes. A lot of them just are. That's how they made it in a cutthroat world, and I guess you have to be that way. And you should be happy. And I've seen them be somewhat disparaging towards women. And has nothing to do with their political party.
Most of them are Democrats.
Yes. The only billionaire who I think is really only just a front man for the military-industrial complex. I've met him, too. I didn't find him that impressive. And he has some kind of free pass, is Elon Musk. Elon Musk is building an entire Skylink for the military. Neuralink is literally a military program. I have a whole series of clips for another show that I'm working on. Yeah, all of this stuff is all military. He's a front guy, and he gets to say whatever he wants.
There's a lot of front guys out there.
You agree with me, though, don't you? That SpaceX, it's all military front. He's all a military pitch guy, and he's a very effective one.
He's really good. Horowitz met Jack Ma, and he was similarly unimpressed, thinking it was kind of a front man. And even Richard Branson, according to one source of mine. This
is the problem. Richard Branson's a total nut. He's a total... I was in a meeting with Richard Branson. We were trying to pitch Virgin Air on some Mevio crap, and we found out, first of all, that Virgin America, I should say, and even Virgin Air, it's run by Singapore. Singapore Air runs it. It's just a logo. It's a freaking logo and different uniforms, and these guys are all frontmen. Jack Ma, the problem is, he started to smoke his own dope. He's like, watch me now. I'm gonna, yeah. And then, into the gulag or wherever he is. He's at the bottom of the Wangdai River.
Jack Ma.
Yeah, I don't know where he is. This is not good for Jack.
Either, but no, they're smoking their own dope.
Yeah.
Which is a modern way of saying believing your own publicity, is a common trait amongst most of them. I'm sure there's one or two of them that we may or may not have known that they're fine with it. I think Bill Ziff was okay, although he was eccentric as hell. Mm-hmm. But the rest of them, it just seems like a lot of them get full of themselves. They're not really pleasant to be around.
Correct. Most of the really wealthy people I've interacted with, they're weird. And they're not always nice to be around at all.
No.
I have a couple clips here. This is the workplace. Employers, this is the clip I wanted to play. Employers using video to trap their own employees now. It's everybody's duty to make sure you don't have any insurrectionists or any domestic terrorists working in your organization. Let's make sure everybody keep an eye out. It could be the person in the cubicle next to you.
Wednesday's violence on Capitol Hill alarmed so many Americans. But what if you noticed that one of your employees was caught on camera in the middle of that violence? Should they be fired from their jobs? It's happening already. Some bosses are showing the answer is yes, and they have already taken action. We'll tell you who next.
That's right. I waited for that break.
Goosehead Insurance, that's a company based in Texas, says it has fired Paul Davis. He was an associate general counsel at the company. In an email to employees, the insurance company said it was surprised and dismayed to learn that one of his employees had taken part in the demonstrations at the U.S. Capitol. An Instagram account, by the way, identified as Paul Davis, wrote that he was peacefully demonstrating. But in most states, employers have pretty wide latitude to fire employees, even for conduct outside the workplace. Fox News legal analyst Andrew Napolitano says the law is clear, saying, quote, employers may lawfully terminate employees for conduct outside the workplace if they can show that the conduct was criminal or that the conduct is likely to damage the product or service that the employer offers to its customers. And finally, Liz, if you ask, well, what about the First Amendment? Yes, it does protect our right to protest, but it does not provide any protection for employment, as we're finding out.
The news industry needed some guidance, and they got some information, probably from the NEA. It's like, wow, how do we talk about these things on television? What words can we use? John, what words are proper to talk about these? Is it sedition, insurrection, domestic terrorism? Which one should we be using?
Attempted coup.
Hello, ... This is to the entire news staff of a Minneapolis local station. I am looking at it here, so it's not a phony. Although I've been asked to keep it anonymous since one of our producers is on that list for obvious reasons. Hello, ... some of you had asked about the right language to use to describe what happened and those who perpetrated the breach of the Capitol today. What started as a lawful protest quickly devolved. Those who breached the Capitol were not protesters. They were rioters, extremists, an angry mob. Please avoid referring to those who breached as protesters, a term we use to often describe people peacefully exercising their right to oppose a particular view or event. I'm sharing something below from the Kneeland Foundation, a well-respected resource for journalists. Are you familiar with the Kneeland Foundation? The Kneeland Foundation?
Neiman?
No, Kneeland, Kneeland, Kneeland.
No, I'm not.
Kneeland. Well, it's a well-respected resource for journalists. What do you know then? You're a phony. You're a fake journalist. Here it is. Journalists, comma. I know many of you are not only covering the events in Washington, but also events in your own cities. Your actions at this moment can help your community come to grips with what it means to be an American. How you doing? What's happening now is the difference between First Amendment rights and insurrection. Before I continue, what exactly do they understand as the definition of insurrection? What do you think? John?
I don't know. I know you asked me what do they think insurrection means?
Yeah, do they think it truly is a violent uprising against the government? Is that really what they thought it was? Yeah, I'll continue.
I think they're insincere.
This is the difference between protests and riots. There is nothing peaceful about this violence. Wow. Please avoid the false equivalency of balance and describe these events accurately. Words like illegal insurrection and attack by a mob made up of many white supremacist groups. Wow, is that what they want to say? Hold on a second. Please avoid false equivalency of balance and describe these events accurately. Words like illegal insurrection and attack by a mob made up of many white supremacist groups. Is that what they want them to say?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Well, that's insane. Well, I'll continue. We can tell that based upon many of the flags being flown and by the chat room discussion that led up to it, the way you describe this will tell your viewers whether it's a natural response to disagreement or it's an illegal mob insurrection. Avoid making this sound anything like normal. So that's what you're going to be hearing from your local news.
That's what yes, this would be that the editor's end of it. That'd be the top of the guys that tell you what to do. You're a writer, a reporter, you're sitting there, and they tell you to do it this way, and that's what you do. It's just that simple, and the news goes out that way, and people blame the reporter sometimes for some of these inaccuracies.
Rachel Maddow, where is this thing from her? This was kind of fun. I made a little mini supercut just to help Rachel Maddow because she doesn't seem to understand the history of what political leaders have said throughout our history in these United States. Hold on. Why isn't Rachel saying anything? What happened here? Play.
Well, this week, PPP released the findings of a poll of how much Americans believe in conspiracy theories. That's where we got our lizard people numbers from. We also learned that the percentage of Americans who believe that a secret power elite with a globalist agenda is conspiring to eventually rule the world.
Hold on a second, John. Something's wrong with my system here. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
No, it's okay. We'll be okay. For some reason, I lost MIDI control.
Stop tape?
Yeah, I did stop the tape. It'll just take a second. Bastards. It's the NSA, man. They're trying to deplatform us mid-show.
The lizard people.
Hold on. The lizard people.
Lizard people.
This is important. This is an important piece. I'm almost there. Hold on. Check. Okay. Okay, I'll pick this up. Here we go.
Well, this week, PPP released the findings of a poll of how much Americans believe in conspiracy theories. That's where we got our lizard people numbers from. We also learned that the percentage of Americans who believe that a secret power elite with a globalist agenda is conspiring to eventually rule the world through an authoritarian world government or new world order, that percentage is 28%.
And I wonder why, Rachel.
The affirmative task we have now is to actually create a new world order, because the global order is changing again.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
There's a need for a new world order, but it has different characteristics in different parts of the world.
Never before has a new world order had to be assembled from so many different perceptions or on so global a scale, nor has any previous order had to combine the attributes of the historic balance of power system with global democratic opinion and the exploding technology of the contemporary period.
After 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, a new world is emerging. It is a new world order with significantly different and radically new challenges.
And the hope that each of us has to build a new world order.
And I strongly believe India will be a central actor in the new world order.
New world order. Shut up, slave. For a better life beyond your freedom, build back better for someone else.
Catching on, people, to the magic of music. We explain exactly what's going down.
Well, Rachel is an idiot.
Yeah. So I didn't make that up. I think that was actually said by some people.
Yeah, I could almost identify each one of them. Which shows how bad this show is acting on us.
Did you like a Kissinger in the world order?
I sound exactly like Henry Kissinger. There's a cough syrup.
You've mentioned this before. You've mentioned this before, I think.
Yeah, it's called Ventolin. Mm-hmm. If I take a spoon of it, like before, since my vitamin D therapy, I haven't really not had a cold for a decade, but if you take like a spoon of this, because you have the cough, and you have to go to bed, you take a spoon of this the night before, you wake up with Kissinger's voice, and it does not go away, and there's nothing you can do about it. I've said it before.
You should try it. I want you to do it.
I'm almost tempted to do it and then do the show.
Yeah.
For one thing, everyone would think it was bullcrap because I can't even get to that voice unless I have this. I would be talking.
Well,
like
I think we need a special.
I can't even get close to it because I can actually put volume behind it.
We need a special donation amount to make this happen. We need to motivate you. We need to motivate you. You have any more cancel clips or something? I'm sure you got something left. Yeah.
Probably. Well, let's listen to our I got the Parler woman.
Yeah.
And she was on Cutter. I'm having nothing but trouble saying
Tulsa. I love it when
I called him Hunter. I called him Cutter.
It's because in your brain, you're not supposed to be playing his clips on the show. You understand, so your brain is revolting against this. It's a seditious
you mock
act.
me by saying something like that, but it's actually possible that's the reason.
I'm not mocking you. It's a seditious act. It's an insurrection of the show. You are a show terrorist.
I'm not gonna argue it because it's absolutely possible that my own brain, because I'm the one who bitched the most about these Tucker clips.
Yes.
It wasn't your idea to ban the clips.
No.
Okay, so now I want to, before I play these clips, there's two of them. They're called Parler Publicity 1 and 2. I use the word publicity. I think these are native ads.
Oh, that's an interesting point. You think they paid? I doubt they paid for. You know what?
This might be a new form of native advertising, because to me, if I'm watching this show and I'm a Tucker Carlson fan and I'm listening as well, I'm getting a Parler account immediately.
So this is coming from everywhere all of a sudden, and we're going to unpack what we know at this hour. But we do know that over the last 24 hours, Twitter specifically has banned a number of different conservative accounts, not just the president's. At the same time, the Chinese Communist Party, the Ayatollah of Iran, still have their accounts because they're not a threat to the ruling party here. Tonight, a competing social media service, Parler, which we told you about, is seeing massive and unprecedented surge in traffic. The site even experienced server outage because of new users tonight. Why? A couple of reasons. Mostly this.
Why?
Parler is a free speech alternative to Twitter. They don't censor you. You can say what you want. The president is on Parler, and that has drawn a lot of people who realize they are being suppressed by Twitter. Parler's succeeding. What happens now? Of course, Silicon Valley is trying to kill it. Google has just removed Parler without any warning from its App Store. Apple and Amazon, which provide services that keep services like Parler online, have also threatened to shut Parler down. Amy Peikoff is the chief policy advisor at Parler, and she joins us today. Amy, thanks so much for coming on. This seemed to come out of nowhere. How big a threat to your company is this?
I mean, this is very huge because Apple in particular carries our app on the App Store. And as far as I know, technically there's no other way to deliver it. So if they choose to withdraw their services and hosting us on their store, we're toast there. And you know, most people like our app. Our app is a very nicely functioning piece of software. And then in terms of Amazon, Amazon is also raising.
The coding is so exquisite of the Parler app. I'm just blown away. I think the imagery, I think the icon it just feels good. It feels smooth. I am really a lover of the app.
And then in terms of Amazon is also raising some problems, and I'm not sure how serious that is yet because I've yet to speak with them. I will later today. And they provide server for us, and if they were to remove their services, then we'd be down. As it is, we're having some difficulties now with the uptick in traffic, but if they took their service away, we'd be gone.
What makes me, a little bit sad, but also, that's part of why we're here, is that people really no longer understand that you can use Twitter and Facebag and Instapop and Parler with a web browser. If you say to someone, a lot of people, well, why don't you just use the web browser to log in? You have a lot less of the crap in the background of the app that's trying to, even though you love the feel of the app, you can use a web browser. And they'll say, what do you mean? I say, it's this thing. I say, that's my Google. The web browser is now synonymous with my Google. That's where I search for stuff. Can I get to Parler from that?
This is not a good, what you're describing, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because by the way, I use Twitter on a browser. I do everything on a browser. I don't have all this crap on my phone. And it's a good reason because the phone's in a drawer and it's probably not turned on at any given time during the day. In fact, it doesn't get turned on for weeks at a time. Mm-hmm. But that's beside the point. I think you might be right that people they don't get it. And they just they're so stupid they don't get computers. They don't get taught it. I don't know what it is.
I have a copy of the email communication from Amazon to Parler, which maybe happened during this interview or after it. Would you like to hear a little bit of it? Of their reasoning?
Part two
first? Okay, here we go.
Well, I mean, it's political repression, period. Now, definitely. Google, when we asked why they did this, and they sent a relatively long statement, we're just going to read a snippet of it to you on the air. We're aware of continued posting in the Parler app that seeks to incite ongoing violence in the U.S. It continues. In light of this ongoing and urgent public safety threat, we're suspending the app's listings from the Play Store until it addresses these issues. Okay, so they're accusing you of inciting violence.
They are putting on us the responsibility for every piece of incitement that is posted there. And the nature of an open platform, a free and open town square, is that we do not take action on people until we are aware of a situation.
Right.
It's particularized suspicion. You do
so
not
let me just ask you really
surveil.
quick. I mean, how much of the world's kiddie porn goes through Gmail? How many Gmail accounts have been used to order plastic explosives? How many insurrections have been planned on Google?
Yeah, the funny thing is, Gmail clearly states they read your email to target you with ads. They could easily, legally, flag any of that stuff. But I guess it's nothing, because otherwise we would have heard about it. So it's not happening. Gmail is clean. From the back and forth between Amazon and Parler. As we discussed on the phone yesterday and this morning, we remain troubled by the repeated violations of our terms of service. And this is Amazon talking. Over the past several weeks, we've reported 98 examples to Parler of posts that clearly encourage and incite violence. Here are a few examples below from the ones we've sent previously in some images. Recently, we've seen a steady increase in this violent content on your website, all of which violate our terms. It's clear that Parler does not have an effective process to comply with the AWS terms of service. You see, Parler has to adhere to Amazon Web Services terms of service. You should have looked at those, Parler. Sorry, bad business decision. And if you had only called the Dvorak Consulting Group for a small exit fee of $10 million, we would have saved you a hell of a lot of trouble. It also seems that Parler is still trying to determine its position on content moderation. Did you see how crazy this is, what you're hearing now? You remove some violent content when contacted by us or others, but not always with urgency. No. Your CEO... Your CEO recently stated publicly that, quote, he doesn't feel responsible for any of this, and neither should the platform, end quote. This morning, you shared that you have a plan to be more proactively moderate violent content, but plan to do so manually with volunteers, which is exactly what Facebag and Twitter and everybody does. My daughter works for them doing that. It's our view that this nascent plan to use volunteers to promptly identify and remove dangerous content will not work in light of the rapidly growing number of violent posts. This is further demonstrated by the fact that you still have not taken down much of the content that we've sent you. Given the unfortunate events that transpired this past week in Washington, D.C., this is a serious risk. There's a serious risk this type of content will further incite violence. AWS provides technology and services to customers across the political spectrum, and we continue to respect Parler's right to determine for itself what content it will allow on its site. However, we cannot provide services to a customer that is unable to effectively identify and remove content that encourages or incites violence against others, because Parler cannot comply with our terms of service and poses a very real risk to public safety. We plan to suspend Parler's account effective Sunday, January 10th, 11:59 PST. We will ensure that all your data is preserved for you to migrate to your own servers, and we'll work with you as best we can to help your migration. From the AWS Trust and Safety Team, the same people who emailed me. There you go. That is a company that provides bandwidth and computers.
Well, this is no good.
It's what's happening. And we'll see some of it. A little bit. And I'm sure there's something at Amazon Web Services that'll have to be migrated, I'm sure. But we've been smart about that, and we've had lots of smart people to help us with it.
Yeah, and they kept us out of these
this bull
quagmires.
Yeah. You got anything else?
For good reason.
You got any other cool stuff?
I think that,
what's this Tech 24? Is there something there that we need to talk about?
This is the tech report from France 24.
Mm-hmm.
Very funny.
Oh, good.
I think it should be after the segment.
Okay. All right.
I think we can do the P. It says PBD should be PBS.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yes. Yes.
Let's do this. Is the wrap. This is Judy on PBS. Judy. This is the wrap of the riot. There's wrap of the riot and then wrap with some details. Just play wrap of the riot.
Calls for President Donald Trump to resign and plans to impeach him a second time continue today for inciting Wednesday's deadly rampage at the Capitol. The president remained at the White House with 11 days remaining until President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. Mr. Trump is now banned from Twitter, his favorite social media platform. There were more arrests of members of the mob that broke into the Capitol. Among them, Derek Evans, a Republican West Virginia state lawmaker who live-streamed himself unlawfully entering the Capitol building. He was arrested yesterday and resigned today. Arizona resident Jacob Anthony Chansley, a supporter of the QAnon conspiracy theory, who wore face paint and horns at the Capitol, was arrested today. And Florida authorities announced today they arrested Adam Johnson, who allegedly removed House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's lectern and was photographed walking away with it. Yesterday, the Department of Justice charged 13 people with federal crimes and said about 40 others have been charged on lesser charges. 5 people died in the attack.
Well, now there's some details that I didn't catch anywhere else that's in the second half of this report.
Julia Kayyem is a former assistant secretary at the Department of Homeland Security and a professor at the Harvard Kennedy School. She joined me recently to talk about the events of this week and the potential consequences for national security. Julia, what are the longer-term security implications of what happened the other day? I mean, now we are hearing that Nancy Pelosi's laptop has been stolen. There might be lots of other things that are missing from different members' offices.
So the long-term consequences are unknown at this stage, and that's why there has to be a thorough review of why were they so ill-prepared for the preparations, what happened in the building, and then what was taken for national security purposes, or was it just someone wanted to take her laptop and threw it out, on their way to the airport. We don't know yet. And so the idea that somehow, we can have an understanding of how bad this was is absurd at this stage. This was a security breach of a co-equal branch of government, no different than if they had done it at the White House or at the Supreme Court. And it was not just physically threatening. It was threatening to our national security secrets and to, basically continuity of government for some period of time.
You know what the sad thing of all this reporting is, especially this report from PBD, is I really didn't hear much conversation about really why people are angry. Why were they there? And I have received report after report, boots on the ground, about the large number of Asian Americans who are fed up with being marginalized and discriminated against. From Yale University as a good example. We've discussed all of that throughout the past couple of years. Why? Why are these people angry? It's a lot of people who are angry. No one seems to care. The only thing they can come up with is insurrectionists, domestic terrorists, and if you weren't actually caught, arrested, or caught on camera and are soon to be arrested, you're probably on the way because you're just a crazy nut job. That is a huge mistake, and our public broadcast system is doing a disservice unless they did something earlier or later in the show where they talked about this real problem. No, they didn't. Because they're also elitists. They are elitists serving the elites. It's not just here. The yellow vests in France, the farmers in the Netherlands, Germany, Belgium. It's all a classist thing. It's everywhere in the world right now. And they're clamping down.
Do you think possibly that their own analysis...
Sorry, I'm just going on.
Do you think it possibly their own analysis, calling people insurrectionists and coup attempts and all the rest, is really a projection of their fears? Because they are elitists and they know they're, the target's on their back?
I think that is incredibly possible. Yeah, I think they are. Well, I understand if you're a Congress critter, if you're, who did I see? Rashad Tlaib, Congresswoman. There was a little bit of video of her in the in chamber. She was. The look of fear on her face, I felt bad for her. And I can understand from her position, certainly, why you may be worried about what was taking place outside the door. as she is also one of the people leading the impeachment articles, which will be filed tomorrow. So, yes, it's okay when peaceful protesters or angry mobs or whatever, when they're burning down a piece of a city, if it's businesses. But once you start knocking on their door, now it's a real problem. So yes, I think you are completely correct. They are indeed very scared. And the worst thing is, they're identifying themselves as such. I don't think anyone's fooled. Well, a lot of people are not fooled by this, but they are fueling something much worse than I think that is out there right now. And the only thing we can do is route around it. We just don't need... I've got more clips from podcasts with luminaries, with interesting people, than mainstream. Mainstream it's useless. It's useless as an information source.
The mainstream is becoming, if it's not completely useless. I do have one last clip, and then we can take a break, I think.
Yeah.
And this is just another example, and this hasn't been discussed at all, really, by any of the other people that have been... They talked, well, a bunch of people have been taken off these platforms. Well, we don't know that... I didn't know this until I saw it on Fox. Walk Away has been taken off Facebook.
Candy-O.
Joining me now is Brandon Struck, founder of the Walk Away campaign, a grassroots movement dedicated to helping liberals walk away from the Democrat Party. Brandon, after your group was given the boot completely from Facebook, this is the email that you say they sent you. Pages that are hateful, threatening, or obscene are not allowed. Continued misuse of Facebook's features could result in the permanent loss of your account. So what was hateful and threatening on your page, Brandon?
I guess they found us to be threatening to the success of the Democrat Party. Basically my page, the only content that goes on the Walk Away campaign page are testimonials, true stories, videos, and written testimonials coming from people all across America and across the world who have had enough of exactly the type of behavior that we've been seeing from social media in the last couple of days, not to mention from the liberal media, not to mention from the extremist behaviors of the Democrat Party, pushing more fringe, more left, more socialism, more globalism, more extremity. This is what they're walking away from. But this is the only content that goes on my page are these testimonials.
And notice who they're happy to deplatform. It's white. Brandon is white. And he's gay. And gay men are the lowest on the LGBTQIAP plus totem pole.
Scum.
They are scum. Gay men are really completely discriminated against in the community. And so now it's a double whammy. White gay guy. And he's a hairstylist. I mean, please. If he ain't Pierre in France, we don't need him. And with that, I would like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who just put the C in Cutter Tolson, John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships at sea. Boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
And a big hey, hey, ho, ho, hearty in the morning to the trolls in the troll room. Hands up, trolls. What do we got? $24.91. We're doing well these days, aren't we? Isn't $24.91?
We dropped off since Thursday.
What do you mean we dropped off since Thursday? Was what? How much was it Thursday? I thought it was 23 Thursday.
26.
Oh. Well, it's $24.91. That's not bad.
No.
No.
Not bad at all.
No. Hey, if you want to be a troll.
Another big riot to get back up to the big numbers.
Yeah, that's right. We need some insurrection to get the numbers up. That's what it's all about. And that's really what it's all about, isn't it, CNN?
It's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah. So, trolls, thank you for being here. The trolls hang out under the bridge and in the troll room, sometimes at the same time. And you can join them. There's thousands of them. At noagendastream.com. It's you're not going to get deplatformed. I mean, I'll kick you out once in a while, but you'll be able to come back in 5 minutes. It's just a friendly tap. But that's what
I block.
You can't block in our troll room. I don't think you can. I think you're either in or out. You're in or out.
I'm just thinking of No Agenda Social.
So the troll room is a live chat. If you've never seen it, go to noagendastream.com. You can listen to all the live shows, quite a number of them, and a podcast from around Gitmo Nation. It's a 24-hour stream. And you can talk about that or talk about whatever you want. And you can also get an invite right there, now more than ever, more important than ever, to noagendasocial.com, our federated social network. It's algo free, so the signal to noise is very high. You can have a normal conversation. You can disagree, but no machine is going to spit that back in your face and draw in other people. It also works across federated instances, so you can have other communities, other tribes who have different ideas and different opinions, and you can cross over. Oh, you don't have to. It's all fine, and there's no one going to deplatform you. Once you're on Mastodon, you can't go any lower. And NoAgendaSocial.com is proud to be at the bottom of that. And then we say in the morning to the artist for the artwork for episode 1310. We titled that one Quiet Riot, which you came up with that, John. It was a perfect title, especially for the Thursday show. Darren O'Neill, with a big FU to me, he went back, changed his bug-eating image, and simplified it, and it was acceptable. Then he's got Eat Bugs with his worm. It's pretty, it pops, it's orangey. Very happy with it, and thank you very much, Darren, for bringing us your talent to the show. We had some discussion about art. We always do. I'm trying to think.
It was very difficult to pick a piece in this grouping.
And well, let me see. We had a number of things. So we weren't going to do any of the memes with the Viking guy. No, we weren't going to use any of that. Oh, we also decided against the upside down flag, which is a distress symbol, which I think is appropriate.
It's also used by the Azteca Mexican organization that wants to turn the country back to Mexico.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You see it on a lot of cars.
What else did we have? What was there that was really something that we liked? I can't remember what else we were discussing. Do you?
Yeah, we were discussing the fact there was nothing except Darren's FU. You want simple? I gave you simple.
And you know, I
stemmed from the conversation we had on the show where you said, it's too busy, too much stuff all over there.
I love how you do my voice. It's not mocking, and it sounds
it's the same
exactly
voice I do for
right.
my mom and
your wife. Yes, I know. I'm in fine company.
I don't have another voice for this. I don't know what to say.
And yes, I'm just going to withhold any further comment. Yes, exactly. No, it was perfectly fine. It was fine, Darren. Thanks. It was really good. So there you have it, back in your face. In jest, though, the talent that creates artwork for us, and you don't have to be specifically necessarily very talented. You can just have a good idea and be funny, and often that works extremely well. We love our artists. We love giving them feedback, honest feedback, which you probably don't get everywhere. If you're rejected by your boss, I don't need, they won't really tell you what they think. So I think we make you better and you make us better at the same time. It is a part of our value for value model, which has kept us secure, intact on the air for running on 14 years now. All we ask is if you get any value from this program, give it back. You can do it with your time, by looking for things, giving information, with your talent, such as this. Some people have talent in making clips. And certainly with your treasure. And this is what has kept the show going for all this time. And we really enjoy thanking people who came in with high numbers to support us. And we give them the appropriate titles of an executive producer or associate executive producer. In this case, for episode 1311.
We have episode 1313 coming up.
Ooh.
That'll be next Sunday.
Sunday.
Lucky numbers, back to back.
Beautiful.
Well, let's thank a few people, starting with Ben Jones.
Okay.
Ben Jones.
All right.
He is Sir Ben in the simulation, and he came in with $1,000.
Woo! Is he an Insta-Night?
Well, he's already Sir Ben in the simulation.
Oh, okay. In the simulation.
But apparently well, let me read. He does have a mention here of being Sir Ben in the simulation.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure why I didn't get on there. In keeping with your theory that listeners tuning in from JRE are generous, here's $1,000 to start out 2021 the right way.
Rogan donation.
Hell yeah. We'll play
this
a jingle
makes
for
me
you.
a knight, in which case I would like to adopt the name Sir Ben in the simulation. See if he's on the list.
I will.
Because I circled it, put a big arrow.
Keep reading. It's good. I'll check it.
Adam's comments about the Fed and the digital dollar caught my attention on JRE. What sold me was his mind game surrounding the bomb he dropped on his second appearance. I think it was that he already knew RBG chose to retire from life and Trump would get another Supreme Court nominee. You knew this in advance, according to him?
Apparently. And I said
the introduction to the show and subsequently John's DH Unplugged, which I recommend to any listeners interested in finance, were some of the reasons 2020 was a good year for my family and me.
Wow, that's quite an endorsement. Thank you.
My white-hot, crazy smart wife and I have been listening together since the summer of 2020 when 2 of the 4 human resources began de-douching each other. We knew it was time to donate. You've been de-douched. Oh, thank you. As the threshold for the Value for Value exchange had been reached, that was apparently the threshold. Thank you for what you do and for the community you founded. We feel at home. In fact, I would like to take on a more active role with my newfound status as a No Agenda Night by launching my own Value for Value podcast.
Okay. Yeah, perfect.
With a corresponding Mastodon server in 2021. I think this will be necessary for my business to survive through the mediocre reset, a.k.a. the Great Reset. Mediocre reset. I like that. Mm-hmm. I love the audio quality of your show and plan to take up Adam's advice to mirror your settings referenced on his Podfather Gear page. Alas, the personal settings links all producers a no such key. The specified key does not exist. Error.
Ooh, well, thank you for letting me know. I shall fix that right after. I'm going to write it down. I shall fix that. The settings will return.
Apparently, he continues, all caps, I not only am not the only one with this issue because a comment from 2 months ago points out the same problem. Shit. I'm happy to provide a value for value Bitcoin exchange if Adam can fix the links and send them to Ben at Carrot Stick, whatever. I'm not going to put his email out. In closing, we would like to request the dog karma that sounds like Elizabeth Warren on the debate stage and the Build Back Better jingle for the roundtable. I request you bring your podcast setup. So we can stream the event for all the douchebags. Stay vibrant.
Ben, thank you very much. And we'll see you at the round table. Indeed.
He's on the list?
Yep. I'm not sure what happened to the settings, but I shall re-upload them. And just so everyone knows, it's podfathergear.com. And there you can find every piece of my current gear, what I use, all the settings, although seems like they've gone, but that's easy to re-upload. I'll just export them. Thank you very much, Ben. Good to have you and your wife and your de-douched kids around.
For a better life beyond your freedom, build back better for someone else.
You thought. Karma.
Thanks for requesting that one.
So, since we're in this, dog was mentioned.
Yes.
I would like to talk about dogs for a quick second.
You know, I was at the No Agenda meetup, the 512 local yesterday. Great group, 35 people I counted, and I'm sure there were more. A big thing. So people would ask me, tell me about the phone you've got. Tell me about Signal. And do you have a dog yet? We have launched something horrible.
Well, Jay, who is a dog walker and has a book coming out on dogs, she says, whatever you do, do not get 2 dogs. She says this is the biggest mistake new dog owners make.
I have had dogs in my life before, as has my wife. I'm not a new dog owner. I'm just coming back from the hatred.
I'm just telling you what she said.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not going to talk about your background in dog ownership.
Unlike what you've done for the past 2 years about how I hate him, okay.
But, okay, well, let me bring that up. I said she's first. I didn't mean to bring this up, but the first thing she says to me when I said you're going to get a couple dogs, she says, I thought he hates dogs.
Oh, my God. You have tainted my reputation with this horrible lie. You are a liar, a podcast liar.
I'm a liar in chief.
Mm-hmm.
She says that new dog owners, and I suppose experienced dog owners, make the mistake of getting 2 dogs at the same time.
No, I can see
this
that
is
being a
the
problem.
worst thing anyone can do.
I agree. I can see that being a problem.
She says that the dogs bond with each other, and they never bond with the
humans.
owners.
Yep, I'll bet that's true. Yeah.
And she says you get one dog, and you keep it for 1 year. Then the dog is, part of your group.
Or you can kill the dog if you don't like it and get a new one.
You could always do that.
Or eat it. Yeah.
You buy it. This is for everybody out there who needs to know this. You buy one dog, or you get a dog somehow, and you keep him for 1 year. That by then he is like, he knows you're the top dog. Now he's one of you. He's like your henchman. You bring in a second dog a year later, and everything goes fine. That was that. That was the tip.
Well, I would say I really appreciate that information.
The more you know in the morning.
I'm informed.
No. She had other tips too, but I told her to talk to Tina. Christopher Dennin's on the list for $350 from Brooklyn, New York. This is a top-heavy list, by the way. I'm sorry I interrupted it. Brooklyn, New York, no note that I can find. Steve DeCosta in Colleyville, Texas, $333.33. He says, keep up the good work. That third donation since hearing Adam's first visit on JRE. Everybody else had better step up. The JRE people are taking over the show. Might be a knighthood, but I'll figure it out. In the next donation, I would have contributed more, but I need to go buy that no agenda phone so I can ditch this Apple iPhone. We all need some free speech karma.
You've got karma.
Nancy Nichols in Waco, Texas, $333.33. In the morning, please accept this donation that moves me closer to damehood. And once I figured out my dame name, I'll make another donation and join the roundtable. It occurred to me that...
I think I met her yesterday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Although this is my third donation, I never requested a de-douching.
Oh, you got it.
You've been de-douched.
Thank you both and all the producers for continuing to bring us the best podcast in the universe. Adam, it was nice meeting you yesterday.
It was nice meeting you.
At the local meetup. Yeah. Don't forget to contact Sir Don to get together for some hanger talk. For jingles, please play That's True. She got that right. And please give some karma for all as we navigate these strange and trying times.
Don, I met Don when I went to go look at the gyrocopters up north a little bit from Austin. I just drove up because I heard there were some gyrocopters there, walked right into the hangar, and hung out for probably 2-3 hours, and they took me on a flight, and it was really super nice, super cool. And so they came to the meetup yesterday. It was really nice to see them. It was quite an event, actually.
That's true. You've got karma.
Thank you.
Dean Shattuck in Arlington, Massachusetts. That's 333.33. No note from him that I could find under his last name or the word donation. And you should mention that. And also sending in a note at 7 a.m, the day before on the day of the show, asking for some change is not great. Not a great way to do it.
Are you talking about him or someone else?
No, I'm talking about someone else in that case.
Oh, okay.
Also, everything closes at midnight in Pacific time, so just make a note. Dame Valentine of the Bluebird Powder region in Arvada, California, Colorado, 333. For all us producers out there that are not tech savvy and late in the game and switching to alternative online sources, I am seeking your sage advice. Thoughts on Proton Mail or suggestions for alternative platforms to get away from Google and Gmail, especially for business? And top suggestion for a good firewall? I'm ready to jump in the deep end and take my business along with me. So any wise advice is appreciated. Apologies if this has been discussed before. Everything's been discussed before.
Probably.
Please credit this donation to my sizzling hot hubby, Trevor Massey, as he works toward knighthood. I hope your bat coins arrived in the mail. Goat karma from I got mine. Goat karma for my restaurants would be appreciated. Thank you for your courage. Dame Valentine of the Bluebird Powder region.
Yes, and I have noted Trevor Massey as being credited with this. Here's a suggestion. Something I've been using for a while is called Nextcloud, and you can install it, again, on your own little server. There are providers who will give you a Nextcloud. It's maybe $3 a month for 500 gigabytes. I don't know what it is. It's got email, calendar, file sharing, chat, a whole bunch of stuff. You control it. If you install it yourself, then you totally control it. I've been using that mainly for the calendar because it'll accept any type of calendar system, regardless of what device you may be using. You can use a web browser. Just another tip from the Podfather over here. And we will give you some goat karma there.
You've got karma.
Noah Hopping, parts unknown, 333, no note. William Grantham in Phoenix, Arizona, also 333, no note from him. Gazpacho in Syracuse, New York, 333. A lot of 333s today. He writes in, went to the Capitol protest to witness it. I'm not sure, but the reason the police didn't put up much of a fight could have been because so many people in the crowd were surely carrying guns. Surely. And who know, I wouldn't be. And who knows what else in tactical bags, not me, of course.
I don't think there were that many guns. It's really not.
So
D.C., you can't just do that. I think most people obey that. I'm not so sure you're right about that.
The DA, and it was, you think, it's not,
Yeah.
Big difference. The deep state may have decided that their best move was to allow some chaos and then hype it up. And I would bet a chunk of money that the plan was for MAGA to end up shooting someone. If I'm right, it's astonishing no one did.
Because they didn't have their guns. And but please go read the Wikipedia article on Reichstag. You may find some familiarity in there with that situation.
Sir Quistan with a K, in Blyton, Lincolnshire, UK, $250. First associate executive producer for the day. Just a Trump-Pelosi mix of jobs. Great goat karma for me. I don't have the talent of the artist. My time is limited, but I do have some treasure that I will share with you. Please accept this as a token of the gratitude I have for discovering the podcast many years ago.
Thank you.
As my friends and relatives looked at me like I was crazy over the years, they're slowly seeing the deceptions and lies that are peddled every day by our so-called leaders. As you correctly stated, they've moved from deaths to cases and now to infections. But I've noticed a new trend in the UK to state the number of daily deaths. These figures are smaller, 400 to 500 usually, and so are more comprehensible to the average person, which leads to a greater impact on fear levels.
I agree.
I agree too.
I'm hearing it in California now. So there's two ways they'll do it. One is, for the first time in history, 4,000 people died in California today. And then the next one is, a person dies every 8 minutes. That's impactful. I think that works better than the big numbers. Uh-oh. John got deplatformed. Hold on. He'll be right back, no doubt. For a better life without your freedoms, build back better. Come on, I'll have to deplatform him. Call back in, John. Let's do a big chorus.
Build back better, been down on bended knee. Ooh, yeah. Bear the brunt of all the burdens, like broken ones should be. Build with blinded loyalty, back the better ones than you, for a better life beyond your freedom. Build back better.
Build back better for you and me.
For someone else.
Okay, I would have expected John to be back by now. We shall wait a moment. A moment. I think I should play that end of show, actually. So good. Build back better. I think I'll do the full We Are the World, Build Back Better. For someone else. Well, this is taking longer than I expected. Oh. snowstorm. We have a snowstorm right now? You're fucking kidding me. Turn harp off, you fuckers.
Yakking away.
Yeah, how long were you yakking? Because I lost you pretty early.
I just reading notes. Where's the last thing you got?
Yeah, I think you probably did a lot of stuff that we didn't hear. Hold on.
I can read.
Yeah, hold on. And then the next one
said
is
you hung
a
up,
person
by the way.
dies every 8 minutes. No, you crapped out, and then nothing happened. I was waiting, and then I said, well, maybe if I disconnect you, then you'll understand. You might see that. So I was trying to signal
the
you.
spreadsheet covers this. You have to butt in once in a while. Greater impact on fear levels.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too.
I'm hearing it in California now. So there's two ways they'll do it. One is this? For the first time in history. Oh, yeah, that's the numbers. 8 minutes. Impactful. I think that works better than the big numbers. Okay, so you can just pop in with the next donation, which would be...
Which one? I don't know which one. I can't remember where that one was.
It is... That's Sir Quistan.
Oh, okay, so we're on Becky.
Wait, did we finish him? I don't think we finished him. Hold on, John, let me check.
And in the UK, to state the number of daily deaths, these figures are smaller, 400 to 500 usually, and are...
No, we haven't finished it.
So are more comprehensible to the average person, which leads to a greater impact on fear levels.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree too.
I'm hearing it in California now. Okay, so from there, you can pick it up after the so-called impact levels.
I got it.
Yeah, go.
And he continues his note. The impact of the best podcast in the universe on myself has been profound, and I believe this donation, I become a baron. I don't know. You can check on that.
Yep. Title change in order. All cool. We got you down.
Henceforth, at the beginning of your noble selves, I'd like to be known as Sir Quistan, Baron of... this is interesting. It's Quistan, Baron of the free Hanseatic city of Bremen, twinned with Grimsby.
Fantastic.
Becky Passfield is next, $247.16. She's in Australia. No note from her. Michael Drabeck follows that, $222.22 from Studio City, California. Now, underemployed.
Now, this is the note. Hold on. This is the note. He sent this in with a donation and then sent a note early this morning, said, can you just move this note to Thursday? The website's not ready yet. No, that doesn't work. You'll get lost in the shuffle. You'll never be thanked.
You'll never get mentioned.
It'll go on for weeks. So do all this now and send me a note, and I'll remind everybody on Thursday. I'd be happy to do that. We can't move the donation. Our system is not built for it.
That's one of the things I wanted to discuss today. We're here to do a show. We're not here to shuffle notes around and do this and that at the last minute and fix this. And this is a courtesy. It's really not what the show's about. It's just it's a courtesy. And so to complicate matters with all kinds of strange requests and then following up, which is a lot of people do. We get 2 or 3, this becomes a nightmare. Yeah. So I'm going to read this note, and
we're a small outfit.
And people who want to help out will have they can write down his website, which is libertyroaddesign.com. And he repeats it, libertyroaddesign.com, and it'll be up when it's up. He's been looking for a new way to pay the bill, he writes, and decided best print on demand. I have no idea what it was going to print. I started writing things down, and all I could think of were political slogans, most of which were inspired from listening to the show. I need 2 things. I need some no-agenda people to look at my wares and hopefully wear my wares, and I need an artist, especially to design my No Worries logo. I can't go to those libtard sites. They will spit on my shirts and spam my site, so artists, please contact me. As for the value for value model, when this thing takes off, you guys will be my associate producers getting a piece of the back end. The site's not open for business yet. It wasn't open then, but hopefully it will be shortly. I have product on display at libertyroaddesign.com. So check that out and see what you can give him help.
And I would recommend for anybody for anything you're talking about, and we have other notes where people are looking for different types of help and services, agendasocial.com. You're going to find people very helpful. They will really be helpful.
That's the best way to go.
Really be helpful.
They're very helpful for everything.
Yeah.
He says this is time sensitive. Apparently I'm not. You need people to come out and who will be on the street. No worries. We live in L.A. I'll be able to move to the beach. Resist we much.
But resist we much. We must and we will much. About that, be committed.
You've got karma.
Little karma for the new business.
Sir Dave of the Lower Canada in Montreal, Quebec. Is that Lower Canada? Well, I guess it is. And technically, maybe look at the north, that part that I can't name anymore because they've got some new name. It used to be Northwest Territories. 222.22 in Montreal, Quebec. Now that Orange Man is out of the way, Gitmo Nation can expect more big tech crackdowns as the Great Reset Blitzkrieg commences in earnest. How lucky we are to have the No Agenda network of services. Sir Dave of Lower Canada, one shawarma karma, please.
Oh, shawarma karma.
Shawarma karma.
I forgot we had that. Hold on a second. Shawarma. Oh, wait. Why am I not seeing this? Is it SCH?
I thought it was something else.
No, well, I know what it is. A shawarma karma. Jeez. I don't know, man. I have to give you a regular one. I have to look for that, okay? Sorry.
You've got karma.
I'm so sure we had that. Shawarma.
Aaron Heath and Lewiston.
Wait, I found it. Might as well give it to him while we're here.
There you go.
You've got
shawarma.
Was worth it.
Aaron Heath in Lewiston, South Australia, 211.11. Hi, guys. Keep up the great work. Starting a new job on Monday. Would love to get some karma. Can we please play the following clips? Boogity, boogity, amen, Atlas Shrugged, and Standard Karma.
We can do that for you.
Boogity, 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 amen.
Atlas Shrugged
by Ayn Rand.
You've got karma.
Anonymous follows up from Loma Linda, $210. This is a top-heavy list, people. Greetings. Anonymous roaster of beans here. Hopefully one day to be Sir Roaster of Beans. I have been listening since 2013. I've only made 2 pitiful donations in that time. Please give me a partial de-douching if possible.
Partial.
You've been de-douched.
Give you a full one.
A simple outpatient procedure would be best. 2 years ago, I dipped my toes into the world of specialty coffee. My company is Good Boy Coffee. Website, goodboycoffee.com. We donate a portion of proceeds to Best Friends Animal Society, which is where the name comes from. I'm slowly extricating myself from corporate healthcare management, a.k.a. ripping off patients as much as legally possible. And I try to give back a bit more to the show. If anyone wants to buy some great coffee beans roasted in the People's Republic of Southern California, please use the code Dogs Are People Too. If you use this code, I will donate 20% of the cart totals back to the show.
Nice.
Listeners can also use code DBAG to save themselves 10%.
Is there a QR code for that? A D-bag QR.
There you go. Although specialty coffee is quickly becoming even more pretentious than wine, complete with tasting notes and tasting protocols. It's called cupping in the business, by the way.
Cupping?
I've become... Cupping, yes, cupping.
Cupping. Interesting.
I know, it's got a sexual connotation, but that's what it's called.
It does, cupping.
I've been obsessed, and I'm incredibly proud of the coffee we are putting out right now. It's truly a different experience, and I expect it will be right up your guy's alley. Expect some single origin Ethiopian washed processed beans in the mail.
All right.
I look forward to making a No Agenda blend someday. No jingles, no karma. Cheers, and may you never find an exit strategy.
We were thinking about coffee beans, but you ruined it.
Yeah,
we'll have to keep podcasting.
Kevin in Detroit. Yahoo. 20202. First-time donor. I would appreciate a de-douching.
You've been de-douched. Rogan donation.
I'm a Roganite convert and grateful you have two gents here as guiding lights during this wacky time. I'm donating today looking for an F cancer and karma for my wife's grandma. She's having surgery to remove a cancerous spot. Thank you for helping keep my sanity over the past year. I've been hitting friends and family in the mouth along the way and can't shut up when I start talking about the show.
Good.
I'd like to call out the following people as douchebags. Corey W. Victoria.
Douchebag. No, Corey W.
No, Corey W. Victoria.
Douchebag.
Jimmy.
I guess.
And then the hard dose group.
Douchebag.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I can't tell. Commas are useful in writing these things.
It's
use
reliably
commas,
informed. Yes, commas, semicolons.
Otherwise, there've been one douchebag to Corey W. Victoria Jimmy Hardos group. Can I please get a? Can I please get a boogity again? Amen. And a Trump. How come nobody's asked for the amen a woman? That's my favorite.
And how interesting is it that I happen to have that as an ISO? And because I was
amen a woman.
Yeah, I was fully expecting it. Here it is.
A man and a woman.
I was
What an idiot.
Fully expecting to get.
Anyways, he wants the boogity amen and a Trump big massive dump.
Did you just say anyways?
Anyways, yeah, I'm saying it now.
I heard you say it.
I'm saying it. Love and light, he writes.
Now I got to do them again.
It was a massive dump.
You've got karma.
Massive dump. Tom Schasvoort in Losser, Holland, 201. My wife, Jenny Schasvoort Von Diesen, is a huge fan, a longtime faithful listener of your great show. Our sons, Colin and Evan, from 11 and 10, and me, also, yes, guilty, sing along with the Gitmo Nation anthem when Mama listens and knows a lot of the show jingles as You Got Karma, China's ass ho, douchebag, and de-douched in the morning, no agenda formula, etc.
Nice.
But the problem is Jenny is still a big douchebag because she did not make a donation up until now before. Well, wait a minute. What are we saying here? This is your donation.
Are we douching her or what are we doing?
I don't know.
Oh, I see. She wants to surprise her by donating $200 for her birthday, which is today.
Oh, birthday.
Yes. It'll mean a lot to her.
I would like to surprise her.
Yeah, it'll mean a lot to her when she gets a special celebration yell from Adam, as she's really a big fan. Also, big congratulations to her through the No Agenda show from Tom, Colin, and Evan. We love you, Mom. Okay, so this is Jenny, and I'm going to presume she's Dutch. So, Jenny, van harte gefeliciteerd. Hip hip hoera!
Ooh.
That's the way we do it in Holland. We say hip hip hoera 3 times.
And you all sit in chairs. Dame Jennifer.
Well, hold on. Let me just give her a little something here.
China's asshole.
Something like that. Just make her feel like she's part of the fam.
You've got karma.
Our pal Dame Jennifer in Charleston, South Carolina, $200.
And his head is gone. Okay, so now how do I get his attention? See, the thing with John is if he had his cell phone not in the drawer, I could text him and say, I've lost you. So I'm just going to cut him out now and wait for him to come back. So his OTG is not productive for the show. I could hear him fading away. Yeah. I'll just see if I'm going to send him a text so I can then excoriate him. Okay, let's see. JCD cell. He's got one. Hey. You disconnected. Okay, text message sent. Get on the ham radio.
K5ACC, JCD, got you, son.
So I texted you, but it's in the drawer, right? So that doesn't help. Why don't you take it out so I can text you if it happens to
me in the drawer. Here's another problem you have with the phone. If you have it, I don't know, maybe it's just my wiring. But if you had texted me and my phone was here, you'd have a crazy noise going across the computer. Anyway.
Wow.
So you missed.
What?
Yeah, what?
No, I didn't know if you were saying something.
Oh, no, I was bitching about the phone.
Okay, hold on. Let's see where we dropped off now. So you... I don't know what's happening. Are you...
I'm on a good... It's fine.
No, it's not that. Too. No, I think you might just have a little bit too much modulation. Sometimes it seems to
I think I may have kicked it up a notch.
Yeah, you want to kick it down a notch? That's probably...
Okay, so where we were, was you were giving shots for the thing, and then I was reading Dame Jennifer.
Yeah, hold on. Let's just find out where we were so we can pick it up.
Our pal Dame Jennifer in Charleston.
Why don't we just pick it right up there?
She writes in, "Hey guys," and then she puts hashtag sorry, not sorry. That is really the absolute best episode opener ever. I don't know what she's talking about, to be honest about it. And I'm not tired of it. It is my ringtone for NA producers' texts. Here's the latest share of the ANA donations I received lately. Oh. That's animated no agenda to you newbies.
That's right.
And you can look it up on YouTube. Thank you for keeping me sane as possible during the nuttiest time of my life. I started the year by drinking flat but very fancy champagne, and now I'm hoping, which gives me a moment to pause, hoping the rest of the year goes from there. John, where's your wine and food show? That would have saved me. She wants super TPP jobs karma, please, while the T and the P are still in office. May lose its efficacy on January 20th. That's an interesting theory.
It is an interesting theory. Hey, guys, that was one of our openings a couple shows back, and we both said at the same time, hey, guys.
Oh, hey, guys, okay.
People
that's actually a great phone ring thing, yeah.
Jobs. And jobs. You've got karma.
Thanks, Dame Jennifer. Dame Jennifer, always there for us.
So I have an anecdote. She called. She didn't call. We chatted on the texting. We texted.
What? You text?
Yeah, because she
you don't
had
text
this,
with me.
She had this issue with a bottle of champagne. She wanted to know if it was still, if it was still good. It was going to be good.
Yeah.
And I had to give her a little lecture on champagne corks, and people should all know this. The only reason I'm bringing it up. Champagne corks are pretty much designed and can't last more than 15 years.
Oh.
So if you get a bottle of champagne and you say, I'm going to keep this for my 20th, because you get it at your wedding anniversary and you're going to keep it for 20 years for your 20th, it's going to be flat. The compression on a champagne cork is so great that it loses its cellular structure and just dies in the bottle, and the champagne fizz shoots out of it very slowly. It leaks out.
Oh, this is
you open the champagne with one of these corks, and when you pull it, the cork comes right out, by the way. Just whoop, comes right out. When the cork comes right out, you don't have to twist it and fight with it. It comes right out. The champagne's probably going to be flat. Sometimes there'll be a few bubbles left. But that's because you've left the champagne too long. Drink your champagnes about, you buy a bottle of champagne, you can have it in about 10 years. It'd be good to go. Now, there is something called an RD champagne. So you say, well, I don't know. A guy had a 1996 champagne the other day. It was great. These RD champagnes are called, and it says RD on there somewhere on the label. It refers to recently disgorged. That means the champagne was kept in the racks at the champagne house longer than the normal, say the 96.
Oh.
She had 1996 Dom Perignon, which is is one of the other ones. But whatever it was too old. 96 is one of the great Dom Perignon.
Because I've had a 96 Moet, which was phenomenal.
96 is one of the great champagne years. So all of them that you have that have the number, that have a vintage on them will be good.
Okay.
But so what you'll get, some say, well, I just had a 96 and it was delicious. And it wasn't flat. Well, sometimes they'll keep these great years, they'll keep the 96 and they'll keep it so they don't disgorge it and put the cork in for like 10 or 15 years. So 15 years goes by, it becomes, the wine's like, now it should have been over the hill, but now you'll cork it and it'll be recently disgorged. Usually might have the date when it was bottled after the disgorgement. That's important. That would be the year you really want to start your timer with. That would be the year where you can keep it for 10, 15 years. Anyway, that's your champagne lecture for today.
I pity the 15% of people who skip this segment. That's about what it is. It's only 15%. I pity them.
There's information in these segments, and that's a piece of information that was valuable. And she didn't know this, so she kept this thing. They opened it, and it was like flat. And it's going to be that way most of the time. I had this happen to me. It's really problematic with champagnes that are non-vintage and don't have a date on them.
Problematic, no less. Hi, guys. Problematic. What is happening to you?
Anyways, let me continue. You can't figure out when it was bottled. Okay, one last boring champagne thing. The British have this. They believe that a champagne is not really, it should be aged in the bottle for a while, but not to 15 years, or at least 10. And so when you pull the cork out, it should still be kind of straight and not really blossom too much, but it will blossom eventually, which means it forms that little, that it folds out. You look for the wine, there's a line that goes up the side of the cork, and just before it gets to the very top, that's when the Brits think this is perfect champagne. And indeed, if you find a champagne bottle where the cork is still in there, but it comes out pretty easily and it's still bubbly, and that little line of wine is up and it's just touching the top of the cork, you got a top of the, the mushroom part of the cork, not that part, just underneath. You got a good bottle of champagne. Anyway, I'm sorry I did that.
That's okay.
I'm sorry I did that. But let's go on with Sneaky in Glenning Valley, New South Wales, $200. Death to tyrants. No jingles, no karma. We need more of those
That's
donations.
a good one. I love that one.
She may be bumped up, or Sneaky, is she or he, I can't tell. Maybe bumped up to the next level.
Why?
Seems to me.
Why? I don't understand. What are you telling me?
$200. That's American.
Oh, yes. No, that's not enough to go. Oh, wait. What am I looking at here? I'm sorry.
You're on Sneaky.
Yeah. Where is
$200 donation?
I can't. Sneaky is. Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. I'm way.
It's line 20.
Right. But was it 200 Australian or was it 200?
No, that would they
and it's gone. This is fucking dumb, John. We got to figure out what's going on here. God damn it. Sorry. Didn't mean to use that. Pisses me off. Pisses me the fuck off. And how come I can't post? No. Jeez. I wasn't able to post to the troll room. Info Minister. Just so you know.
He's showing me that you get kicked off. Now somebody's getting kicked off.
Well, you got kicked off. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you say that, but I look at my thing. It said you got kicked off.
Okay. I'm going to tell you what's happening, and you just have to take it from me because I run the fucking show. You overmodulate. You overmodulate. Whatever's going on with clean feed, it immediately kills your mic. You're still online, but I see your meter level go silent. We've discussed this. You're outputting too hard into clean feed. Then when I'm tired of waiting for you to see it, I kick you off to get your attention.
Okay. All right, well, let's continue with this.
Well, wait until I hit record. Jeez. I've only told you 5 times.
Well, you have to tell me a 6. I'll be on it.
Let's go.
Sneaky. Go Sneaky in Glenning Valley, New South Wales, 200. Death to tyrants. No jingles, no karma.
I don't know what that means, but we'll keep it at what it is.
I'll tell you that she needs to be bumped up, or he. I'm not sure.
Because
$200 American is $300 Australian.
Is that the number now? That's crazy. Seriously.
Don't you remember the last show? It was like something really stupid.
Yeah, it could be. Hey, somebody,
like 150.
Get that from Doug in the troll room. Let me know what it is. We'll do it anyway, of course. All right, we're good.
Anonymous in Chicago, 200.
$200 US is 260 Australian dollars.
Okay. Never mind.
It's bad, but not that bad.
I thought it was worse than that, but okay. Anonymous, Chicago. Please credit me as Anonymous from Chicago. Well, that's easy enough. Sharing proceeds from proceeds. That's funny. Sharing proceeds from my Google stock dump.
Nice.
I pray for you boys in the coming onslaught. I'm not worried about it. Love you, mean it. Could I please get a douching, wheezing Fauci karma and a little girl yay?
You've been douched.
You got it, no problem.
You've got
just two
karma.
More. Tom Johnson, South Jordan, Utah, $200. No Agenda has provided me with a great deal of value. I've been listening for years. This is my first time donating. Please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
Please provide health karma to my best pal, James, the Game Trail, Dale, I don't know. He is in rough shape in the hospital because of complications to cancer, cancer. The other day I was speaking with his son-in-law, a politically misinformed millennial. That's redundant. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Oh, sorry. He's so silent. Okay. A politically misinformed millennial. Again, it's redundant. Who was asking, who is this Nancy Pelosi person anyway?
No.
From the other room,
Really?
his well-trained 11-year-old son shouted out, "She's a freaking socialist." My good friend James would be proud. Please send karma and prayer his way. No Agenda is truly the best podcast in the universe. I look forward to providing more big, massive dumps, a.k.a. donations in the future. Tom Johnson, South Jordan.
I will say I love that the kid does that, but she's not. She is, in fact, a horrible elitist capitalist. That's really where she's coming from.
Yep.
You've got karma.
Last. We made it. Old Dame J of the Angry Clouds, $200. This is a top-heavy list. Like
It's all right. It's fine.
It's fine with me.
Yeah.
Please credit me as Dame J. Adam was right about the decentralization. Please use this donation to keep the lights on at No Agenda Social as an amygdala shrinking port in a media-driven shitstorm. No jingles, just sanity karma for all.
Sanity karma for all. We need that. Here it comes. Thank you very much.
You've got karma.
And I would like to, shout out. We have our back end guys, but Aaroner over at noagendasocial.com, who I think he's only 26 or 27, and he has been hosting No Agenda Social for several years. You have to understand, it takes dedicated machines, enormous amounts of disk space for all of the drivel you're posting, because if we save the images too, and it's all on his own dime. So really, go on noagendasocial.com and at Aaroner, ERINER, and thank him for what he's doing. He's a true hero of the social, and he really keeps that running. And the Mastodon stuff at scale is hard to run, believe it or not.
Well, people really like it.
Yeah.
There was some woman on the Twitter. She's just beside herself with what's going on. Beside herself.
Yeah.
And she says, I got a Parler, I got Gab, I got Rome, or something else, Rage, or some other thing.
Minds is one now, I think. That's where the pool man is going.
There's a bunch of them.
Minds, yeah.
And I said, these are losers. Just go in. I gave her an invite, and she did it.
Uh-huh.
And she said it was great, and she killed her Twitter account completely. She's not. I tried to DM her, and she was gone.
Nice.
No longer exists.
Outstanding. We are a virus. We are spreading. We are proud of it. And thank you to our executive and associate executive producer for episode 1311. These credits. Some people don't quite understand. You can just show, hey, I'm an executive producer of the No Agenda Show, XYZ episode. The way we can help you, other than sending people to IMDb to go look at their, and Marcus Couch is maintaining an entire IMDb page of producers of the No Agenda Show, and there are some important and famous names on there. But if there's any other question about these titles, get in touch with us. John and I will gladly vouch for you. We'll give them a piece of our mind. And we have standing in this area. We have these credits. We've been members of guilds, so we can prove it for you. And thank you for turning your value that you receive from the show back into numbers that we can, laugh about, but also your notes. And I find it so frequently so informative, and it's just nice to see how everyone is getting along here in Gitmo Nation. Thank you. We have another show coming up on Thursday. We'd appreciate you supporting us, and maybe you get one of these credits for yourself. Go to
Dvorak.org/NA.
And thank you again for your time, your talent, and your treasure in our Value for Value network.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
A man and a woman.
Shut up, slave. Shut up, slave.
We have a snowstorm here in Austin. We are in a snowstorm.
Cocaine?
No, we have an actual snowstorm outside.
It's snowing out?
It's a snowstorm. It's not just snowing, it's a snowstorm.
In Austin, Texas?
Yes.
Huh.
Well, you know what that is?
Global warming.
Global warming, baby, exactly. We know where that comes from. The poor children will never even see snow in their future except in snow globes. The Guardian, around 2008, 2009.
Yes.
Children in the UK will never know what snow looks and feels like only in snow globes.
That's what they said.
That's what they told us.
It seems like they're full of shit.
Yes.
So,
let's do some COVIDs. Want to do some COVID?
I got a couple COVIDs.
I got some COVIDs.
Well, let's start off. I got a good one to start with because I don't have a lot to back anything. You're going to have better stuff.
Maybe.
You're the COVID man. But I do have this COVID variant bullshit.
Yeah. And well, actually, yeah, let's play your clips because I've got one or two of those as well. But this is very interesting because we have the CDC reiterating over and over the variant is not in the United States. The New York Times this morning blaming Deborah Birx for launching this fake news, this false information that the variant is in the United States. I want to understand what is going on here. Every state has a different story. They're all claiming the variant is there. Cuomo in New York, it's here. Why is the CDC not just pushing back, but throwing Birx under the bus, even though she had pretty much hung herself on her own scarf with that Thanksgiving bull crap? Or maybe it's to really get rid of her. I don't know. I do not understand why this.
Well, she's already gotten rid of, so I don't think that could be.
But the New York Times, on behalf of the CDC, is blaming her for launching this fake information, but no one seems to be heeding it. They continue to speak as if it's true.
Oh, here's a breakdown of it.
What's it called?
The
COVID variant. I got it.
How much more infectious is this mutation than the first variety that we encountered?
not enough data for us to tell how much it is, but what we have heard from our colleagues in the UK, it's about 70% more. And we know right now that that's what's going on.
Wow. That's a lot more infectious. So far, as I understand it, and you hinted at this, there haven't been tracing back to the UK by these cases that we've seen. Does that mean that the kind of mutations we've seen here were not imported, but they developed organically in the United States?
It's very hard to tell, but it could have been imported and circulating here, and this person got it from somebody who has been to the UK or somebody who came in contact with somebody who has been in the UK. Viruses, as I said, they do mutate, and in the United States we need to do better genomic surveillance to know what kind of viruses are circulating here at home.
Yeah, I'm baffled by this. CDC, on one hand, reports 22 California cases of coronavirus first variant. Cuomo warns COVID variant discovered could shut down hospitals in New York. In Orlando, another story. I have, Denver, we knew about 2 more cases of more contagious COVID-19 variant confirmed. And yet CDC, no. New York Times, no. It's just not true. So I don't know what is happening. I do. Okay.
Especially since you mentioned it's the New York Times. Mm-hmm. They're pulling this thing back. They're pulling the whole thing back. They're pulling back for Biden, get the economy back going. They got to do something, and they're just going to be all bullshit from here on out.
Well, that's possible.
And you got people that just aren't, they're not read in. I mean, you got Cuomo's off the rails. This guy just says whatever he wants. Once they get read in, these numbers will start dropping like a rock.
Okay. I mean, you would think that they would be using this to accelerate vaccinations to get past some of the hesitancy, which probably the whole thing is weird because, the vaccine is not rolling out fast enough. Everybody's saying it. Do you think they're really holding all this back and rolling it back so they can make Joe look like a superhero? I don't think the pharmaceutical industry gives a crap about him. They know Kamala's the real president. They want to make money. They've got vaccine promotion websites in every community. They're pushing the hell out of it.
Because the COVID variant is killed and everything starts going down, they can still pump vaccines out, saying, it's close, oh my God, the numbers are going down thanks to the vaccine. We got to get more people vaccinated. It's just, I don't see this being anything other than a scam.
So do you think that Joe comes in and we're released, we're free to go?
Yeah, pretty close.
Want to red book that?
It'll drop like a rock once Joe's in.
Here is the latest confusing bit of information. We've seen the studies. We were told again by the CDC that the asymptomatic spread seems to have been a little bit exaggerated, if not completely untrue. Now we have ABC with this.
Doctors are warning Americans about new challenges when it comes to slowing the spread of the virus. New data suggests 59% of COVID cases are likely spread by people who are asymptomatic. Earlier, I spoke to Dr. Alok Patel about why this is so important.
And one of the biggest take-homes is that those temperature checks and those symptom screening measures are not enough. And if the pandemic is really being pushed on by people who are asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic, then you need every single protective measure in place.
And Dr. Patel says until most of the population is vaccinated, people should assume any new contact is a potential exposure to the virus.
Hey, I have a real problem with this report. Listen to what this jamoke says here.
Why this is so important.
Over here.
Place. Symptomatic or pre-symptomatic, pushed on by people who are asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic.
We're all pre-symptomatic. What the hell is that? We're all pre-cancerous. We're all pre-dead. Asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic. Sorry, I fall over that stuff.
It's like the jobs thing, saved or created.
Then we have
saved or created.
Then we have CBS throwing some stuff on top. We still have to be
symptomatic.
Yeah, I mean, give me a break. We all have to be very, very, very.
You're pre-dead, by the way.
Yeah, just what I just said. We have to be very worried about the hospitals, and I do not understand if we have the hospitals running out of room Can we not turn the 2 ships back out, the hospital ships? Can we not rebuild the Javits Center in New York? We had emergency hospitals all over the country, including Colorado. We had the ship. We had emergency hospitals, big ones, ready, went, as far as I know, largely unused. Nevada, huge hospital. We spoke to the people ourselves at the meetup, unused. And so, we have no beds. We have no beds. Well, that's not working. We're not believing it. We got a new one.
The number of people who received their first vaccination doubled this week, 6 million as of Friday. A number, though, that pales in comparison to the number of people sick and suffering. Ofelia Reynoso says she was so careful she never expected to be gasping for breath, laboring each word. Yet she's lucky. Hospital beds are in short supply in Los Angeles, where she's being treated.
I thought they were out of beds. What's this short supply? We're out of capacity. We're going to send people. Don't even pick them up. Let them die at home. These people who are doing this, these are the insurrectionists. These are the terrorists. This is biopharmaceutical terrorism on American people, on people around the world.
And nationally, a record 4,000 deaths were reported on Thursday.
It is going to get much worse before it gets better.
And that's at Ulsterholm, a-hole.
Mobile mortuaries have already set up outside hospitals in Los Angeles, where a person dies every 8 minutes. Even as military teams are now helping some overwhelmed hospitals, LA's mayor is concerned that care will have to be rationed.
If you can spare a doctor or a nurse, if you can spare anything, please send it here. We're Americans.
California is one of at least 8 states where the highly contagious variant of the virus has been detected. But the makers of the vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna, report they're confident their vaccines will also protect against the new strain.
So now they're coming up with, oh my gosh, we have mobile morgues. Yes, that happened in 2018, 2019. We read on the show, you put it in the newsletter. I thought it was good to do that. The Guardian headlines from 2012 through 2019 when it came to the flu. These exact same headlines. Mobile morgues, out of hospital beds, overflowing. Now, this is the same story as every year. And I'm sorry to say, Australia, y'all thought that you were all out and all cool, and I said, no, you're just a few months behind. You have no idea. Prepare, because they are going to lock your crap down again.
Today,
this is the Queensland Premier, Anastasia Palaszczuk.
We are going to be making a very significant announcement, and we are doing this to keep Queenslanders safe. We know...
To keep what safe? Queensland.
That this UK strain is highly infectious.
Wait a minute. I thought the UK strain, I thought they were blaming that on South Africa. Now it's the UK strain?
UK strain is highly infectious. It is
good catch.
70% more infectious, and we are going to go hard and we are going to go early to do everything we can to stop the spread of this virus. It is incredibly contagious. I have been briefed extensively by Dr. Young. I have accepted Dr. Young's strong recommendations, and we'll be taking the following actions. Greater Brisbane will be entering a 3-day lockdown from 6 p.m. tonight, Friday, to 6 p.m. Monday. All residents living in those areas will be required to stay at home. Think of it as a long weekend at home. If we do not do this now, it could end up being a 30-day lockdown.
Okay, so you're going to be blamed that you did it wrong, that you suck.
You did it wrong.
It will be 30 days. It was, I got a little emotional this morning. I've been emailing with Sir Chris, and he says it's starting to affect him now. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. We've seen it all, and I feel bad for our brothers and sisters down under because they were told that, they could do it. And I think collectively, most Australians believed that it really was a mistake from the security company that had the people locked up in the coronavirus hotel and they were having sex with them. No, you can't stop this virus or whatever it is. You can't stop it. I get emails from people. I've been home. I haven't been anywhere. Always masked up, plastic bag over my head. I got it. Yes. You cannot fight this that way. You are being hoodwinked. You are being hoodwinked. You either get it or you don't. I am astounded this has not affected me or my wife. I'm astounded. I really am. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing that we're not getting this? She's in
taking
contact.
Vitamin D.
Yes.
That's all it takes.
Yeah. She's in contact with people every single day.
I haven't got it. Well, I mean, I may have had it, but it would be something I didn't even notice, like a bump in the road or something. You may have had it.
Because I think it's. I would have to agree. It's the D3.
It'd be a bump in the road.
Little bit of.
You had the sniffles once and the swollen eyeball.
I did have the swollen eyeball. It was my favorite version. Mm-hmm.
But, then again, it's just like something. Yeah. None of it surprises me. The people that are most freaked out, this is the.
The reason why there's a new variant in Denver was almost reported correctly.
Another 1,700 people received the virus today, or the vaccine for the virus today in Colorado.
Oh, man. They'll never get it right, will they? So let's talk about this dosing of the vaccine.
The what?
The dosage, where now we're supposed to get...
Oh, yeah, now you can just be in the same room with the vaccine. You'll be good.
Well, the idea now is to give everybody the first shot in the arm, get the vaccine in the arm, and not hold the quantities for people's second shots, just to let them have as many people get the initial vaccine as possible, is counter to everything we were told on the rollout of this vaccine. Everything. It's counter to the whole mission. Go ahead.
I have to say that it's really fun to watch this whole thing because it's as if they're trying to control everything, and it's like an orchestra leader with a bunch of people that are completely out of control. Mm-hmm. One country goes, you know what we're going to do? They're making enough of this stuff. Let's just give what we got to everybody instead of stockpiling the other stuff for the second dose. We'll just give it to everybody. Wait, that's not what we want. And it's just that everything that's going on is all out of control. You could make 2 doses from this. Well, maybe 3. I mean, it's unbelievable how nobody's paying attention to the rulers.
And there's dissent amongst the leadership even.
With under 7 million vaccine doses doled out in the U.S. tonight, or about 2% of the total population, President-elect Joe Biden's team has announced plans to turn Operation Warp Speed into turbodrive. Biden supports releasing available doses immediately and believes the government should stop holding back vaccine supply so we can get more shots in Americans' arms now. A strategy Dr. Anthony Fauci warned against last week after Britain announced it would delay second doses for up to 12 weeks.
We want to do it according to the science. The idea about stretching it out so you can give more people, that's if you have not enough vaccine and you have a lot of people lined up waiting to get a vaccine. That's not our problem now.
Biden's transition team says by using the Defense Production Act to supercharge supply, there shouldn't be a lag between shots 1 and 2.
So what is our problem? What is our problem? Why are they rushing to why are they rushing? Why are they rushing to go against science? As Fauci just said, they're not following the science. It's Joe Biden's idea. Maybe it has something to do with this, from one of our producers, who I will keep anonymous because it's about his wife. I wanted to give you a boots-on-the-ground report about the second vaccine shot. It is a doozy. My wife is an ICU doctor and just got her second Pfizer shot today. She's having chills, nausea, full body aches, and diarrhea. Her other physician friends are having the same. Experienced the second shot when the first shot was just a sore shoulder. Maybe it's not so groovy. Maybe they don't want too many news articles about people pooping out.com.
Well, I don't think that's any reason to just shoot everybody up with as much as you can. Now, this brings up 2 points, or 1 point in particular. Is the second shot different?
No, it should be the same.
Well, if it's the same, then why would you have these different reactions, these horrible reactions?
Well,
if it's the same, yeah, you can dole it out. But if it's a different shot, which seems to me why they're so panicky about this.
Well, this brings us
a different shot. There's something different about it.
This brings us back to.
Then you can't just give it to everybody.
This brings us back to animal trials and other vaccines that have produced great antibodies. But then when people encountered a wild version of the virus, they died. They got really sick and died very quickly. And this happened with children with some I think it was Gates Foundation vaccine trials in the Philippines. Well documented. People are going to go to jail over that. It could be that. But it's not a typical vaccine. We really don't have enough. We can never have enough data on this particular mRNA vaccination technique. Other than we were promised it would be super painful. We got that part down, but if they had mentioned you have to poop all day, I'm hearing really bad diarrhea, which is also dangerous. You can die from horrible diarrhea. You can die from that.
Is it? I don't know that the theorists are out there talking about this, but you got the mRNA vaccine, the first one that's supposed to develop all these spike proteins.
Yeah.
And it floats around your body, supposed to say, I don't like this. You get a second shot of the fresh, let's just say it's the same. I'm going to have to make that argument.
Yeah, it should be, yeah.
You get a second dose of this, and so I said, wait a minute, maybe the body this doesn't sound like a good idea. I think, and I hate to be one out there, so don't do it. But I'm not going to take this thing. It just doesn't sound right to me.
I was talking to Christina, who I've now not seen in 14 months. And they're locked down until January 19th. It appears they will have an extend. And this lockdown, like Australia lockdown, go out to exercise by yourself, go out to food or to medical services, lockdown, you're done.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be extended through the end of February. That's the rumor. And my daughter, who was very level-headed and really understands, listen, it's my daughter. She says, Daddy, I'm afraid I'm going to have to take this. Otherwise, I won't be able to go anywhere and may not be able to do certain types of work. It looks like they're going to force that. And I can see that happening in Europe easily, much easier than here.
But it's not going to fly here.
No. They are ramping up, though.
State health leaders say close to 114,000 vaccines have been administered in Arizona. The vaccination plan in Maricopa County will start moving to the next phase on Monday. This will include teachers, essential workers, and adults over 75 years old. And just into our newsroom, we have learned that starting Monday, State Farm Stadium will be used as a massive 24/7 vaccination site.
This might work. The idea of you got a really long line for the vaccine. People will say, I got to stand in that line. Hey, there's a velvet rope in front of that kid club. Let's go stand in the line. I think if you have a huge stadium with throngs of people, I think that may motivate people to go. That's possibly a good idea. We'll have to see. It'll be very obvious as it doesn't work. That's for sure. A little drone shot of no one showing up.
I won't do that. No one's going to do that. No one's going to show that drone shot of nobody showing up. If they have to get shills in there just to stand in line, they're going to do that and take the drone shot of that and then put that on the news.
Okay. As an aside, in the Queensland Health has, I think this was on Facebook. Someone sent a screenshot. We've been getting this question a lot. The answer is yes. You must wear a mask in your vehicle.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Do I need to wear a mask in my vehicle? The answer is yes. Man, there's videos in the UK, I think up north. People out there sitting on a bench overlooking the North Sea. It's, typical British kind of rainy, wet, gray weather. There's maybe 10 people and 15 cops show up and start arresting these people for violating the stay-at-home rule. It's insane. And my British friends are, boy, it's a real mess over there with Trump. So, yeah, how's your prison, bitch?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I think that's the right answer to these people.
Yeah.
Trump.
So pay attention. Hey, in case you didn't notice it, Bojo's building back better right in front of your face. Enjoy that. My goodness.
Build back better.
All right, what else do you got? You got any more COVIDs?
I got no more COVID.
No more COVIDs.
No, I was short on COVID. I only had the one clip because it was the one that had this discussion point that's going around, which, wait a minute, these things, this variant is cropping up in different places around the world simultaneously. It's not really, if you took biology, this is not the way it works.
Right. No, it's not.
Genetic mutations aren't parallel. I mean, unless I guess you can use the quantum theory of things and maybe kind of indicate that not going to happen.
I'll give you a little Kraken update, just verbal. Because
do I have any Kraken stuff? No, I don't. I gave up on that.
Well, here are the things that are possibly expected. One is I'm hearing that the president may do some kind of speech tonight. I don't know where it's going to air, but that's, and all of this is just what I've heard. We still have a very major push with affidavits coming out of Italy and proof that this is a lot of Linwood stuff, proof that this was all rigged and they have all the trail and they did it all over again for the Georgia election, and it went through to China and to Chile and all over the place. And I'm sure you can find the video if you haven't of the woman explaining that, and the judge from Italy. Along with that,
a lieutenant general that is promoting this Ingraham, that guy. It's just very
not Ingraham. It's McEnany. See, it's not Ingraham.
I thought it was Ingraham.
He's promoting it. The other piece is, and this got interesting yesterday. We've heard for a long time there will be 10 days of darkness. To which I say, if you turn the internet off or the power off, you will kill more people than you have any idea of. So I'm not believing that. Pakistan did have a massive blackout yesterday. 200 million people without power in the major cities. I don't even know if it's back online. That was taken advantage of immediately by people showing a live camera shot, quote unquote, of the Vatican and the lights going out and headlines popping up. Pope arrested on 80-count indictment for child trafficking fraud. So I texted Willow this morning. I said, Willow, did the Vatican go dark last night? And I won't even ask you the second part of the question. She said, no, I saw it going around, the videos from 2015. So you're being duped there. It may be possible that the Pope was arrested on an 80-count indictment of child trafficking, but for sure the Vatican did not go dark last night. That was a video from 2015 that you're seeing. Then we have Sidney Powell and this lawsuit for over $1 billion by Dominion. And just to show you what idiots the news readers are, the news models. And by the way, thank you again, Neil Jones and Steck, for doing some excellent clippage for this show. This is WGN in Chicago.
So Trump's lawyer, Sidney Powell, spread a meme about the Kraken, some mythical creature. And again, another example of you presume Sidney Powell is an intelligent man and
do these people not even know she's a woman?
Holy moly.
These people are such morons.
Example of
this is your news media that we're, this is what, by the way, this is my theme for this year. In this last newsletter, if you want to read a newsletter that has my current theme for newsletters, it's this. It's this.
What, that they're just reading?
Why are we even, these people's, their credibility is shot. You can't say that.
I've made this mistake myself once when I was interviewing.
You can make the mistake, but you can't do it on.
No, but I just want to tell you how
I make the mistake all the time, so maybe I'm too harsh.
Oh, come on, Sidney, you're in the news business. as a news model.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, if you're in the news business, you don't think Sydney is a...
And he's reading this on the prompter.
Yes, of course.
These people they don't know, Tucker Carlson also, it's all prompter. There's nothing that's not from the prompter. He may write some of that stuff himself. These people don't write it themselves, and they're idiots. They're just idiots. I have done this myself. I was interviewing Fleetwood Mac, and this is in the late...
So you had a conversation with that guy, Steve Nicks?
No, much worse. I said, so...
Worse?
Yeah, worse. I said, so... do you think Lindsey Buckingham will ever come back into the group, or is she done with it? And I remember Mick Fleetwood looking at me and saying, "If his penis fell off, maybe."
Lindsey, that's funny.
It was horrible.
I don't think it's worse, but it's bad.
It was for me. Horrible, horrible. Okay. Well,
you were one of these. If it wasn't for this show, you'd be that guy.
Oh, most likely. Yes, most likely. No, I wouldn't be that guy. I'm better looking than that guy. Axios, who...
I didn't see that guy, so I don't know.
News models are all good looking, whether they're male or female. He's a news model. He's a news reader model. Axios is... doing interesting reporting. The British guy, I'm not quite sure what motivates him to do certain stories. But in this case, they got a hold of the CEO of Dominion to talk about the Sidney Powell lawsuit, and I thought it was interesting enough to hear what he had to say.
Our focus right now is on Sidney Powell, and there's a very good reason for that. She is, by far, in our opinion, the most egregious and prolific purveyor of the falsities against Dominion. Her statements have caused real damage. They're demonstrably false. In our opinion, it's extremely easy to verify that we were not created in Venezuela. That's just one of the many of the crazy allegations made against us. And we were originally quiet, and we sat back as a company because our hope was that all of these claims would be filed in a process in court where procedure and evidence is important. And it's become clear to us that there is absolutely no interest to reveal this evidence because we know it doesn't exist. And there's no effort to actually put it in front of a court proceeding so that these allegations and all of the evidence can follow a proper process and be litigated right to the end. And because of that, that's why we're filing.
I'm very interested in this suit. There will be discovery, which is really what's interesting. The 127-page complaint is in the show notes if you're looking for it. Here's one more short clip from him.
Why not also file against, for example, Fox News, OAN, Newsmax? I know they all published.
No, it's because they all... Remember that? Remember they all going like... They were reading almost legal statements on the air to protect their ass, especially Newsmax and One America News? That's why they got the memo and they're
already out. And the way the law is written, if you're a news organization, you make an error and you quickly correct the error. Usually it's in the New York Times, they do it all the time and they put those corrections in the back pages, but they're still there. You're good to go.
How come they haven't sued the Money Honey? The Money Honey was all over this. Maria Bartiromo.
I think that Fox came out with a blanket statement. It covered her ass.
Here's Newsmax with that pussy ass thing.
Since Election Day, various guests, attorneys, and elected officials have appeared on Newsmax and offered opinions and claims about Smartmatic and Dominion Systems, both companies that offer voting software in the U.S. And Newsmax would like to clarify its news coverage and note that it has not reported as true certain claims made about these companies.
Okay, you get the idea. So they got their legal statement.
Or aired, rather, that little kind of 2-minute fact check. But why not file against them as well?
Well, let me be clear. The damage has been done. And in some...
What newsman, what news person asks someone, why aren't you suing my competitors? Is it just me, or is that okay? Is that normal?
I think that's just you.
Sidney Powell is not a television network. Sidney Powell is not a cable news channel.
I think the question was fair.
But why not file against them as well?
Well, let me be clear. The damage has been done. And in some cases, some media outlets are continuing to promote this damaging type of false narrative. And I also want to be clear that we're looking at everybody, that not just every actor that has made these types of false allegations about us, and also the news media outlets that have allowed these allegations to be amplified, unfettered, and unchecked. And we've got a pretty substantial legal team looking at that. And as I said, our priority is Sidney Powell, but the legal team is going to be thorough and exhaustive.
Podcasters next.
Well, you know how this works. We've talked about this mechanism before.
Do tell.
You go after a big target, and you get to the point where she settles out of court for any amount. It could be $10.
Mm-hmm. Then
here's your $10. Okay. Then you start going after the other ones, and they all fall in line. It's just an old trick. Silicon Valley used to do this all the time. You get one person with licensing. You get one, especially IBM. You get one person to sign on to your bogus patent, and the next thing you know, everybody has to pay their $40,000 or whatever it is, and you accumulate a lot of money this way. So Sidney Powell thing is going to be settled out of court. Out of court.
Okay.
With amount unknown.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. It's in the Red Book.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
I'd like
That's, of course, unless she fights it and wins.
Yes. I'd just like to start off at the meetup yesterday. Thank you very much, Baron Scott, who is of the Armory, where he wants a different name, but he organizes these 512 local meetups extremely well. We did it in Doc's backyard, who love us. It's one of the few, I guess. We had 3 or 4 tables, 35, 40 people. Mia was our server, and she was all on board. She was hitting people in the mouth at other tables, telling them to come over and join us. It was young and old from all over. We had some folks from Indiana drive down from Indiana. Okay, granted, on his way to his brother in San Antonio, and his mom, and there were young people, many, I would say, in the mid to late 20s. Which would be called millennials, who feel very proud that they're not woke and broke. Some good
woke and broke. Oh,
we had Trinidad, who came up from, used to be in South Texas, the best dressed No Agenda producer at the meetup.
Trinidad.
His name is Trinidad. Yeah, Gordon. What did I say? What's it? Woke and broke. What did I call it?
Woke and broke.
Yeah, it's not bad. It was really nice. I had a very good time. Unfortunately, Tina was working, so she couldn't join us, and she was missed. And the way Scott and his wife run everything, they have a de-douching station with a QR code, and I have no idea how it works, but you saw some people donate earlier in the executive and associate executive producer category. So Menno Demento did give me one envelope with $100, No Agenda Nation. And he says he wants Bulldog Karma. I'll give you that at the end. For relationship, my 70-year-old friend. Oh, it's also relationship karma. And it's a donation for his 70-year-old friend with COVID. So we'll give some health karma as well. And thank you very much, Menno. And thank you all at the meetup who supported the show. However you did it, and I'm sure it shows up in some of these donations as well. It was a great time, really. It was good to see everybody. I look forward to the next one.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So let's thank a few people on the list, including John Ganotis. John Ganotis. He is, he came in with 133.33 from Fayetteville, New York.
And he has a douchebag call out for Brian Lee.
Douchebag. Indeed. I'm just organizing things here. Hang on.
Sue-In Lee from Parts Unknown, 12345. My smoking hot husband, Nate, to be knighted as Sir Nate, the Nuclear Knight of the Bell River Valley, with this donation on his birthday, which are both in the list. on the list this year. Thanks to John, Adam, and all the NA producers.
It's astonishing.
That's
Kyle
beautiful.
Sullivan, $100.33. Rob Van Dyke's $100 from Netherlands, Holland. Good old Rob. He's a sir, I believe.
Yep.
Leroy Pacheco in Santa Fe, New Mexico, $100. Sir Proteus in Newark, Delaware, $100. Amy Turner in New Braunfels, Texas, $81.33. Braunfels. They used to make a great smoker. Happy birthday to her smoking hot husband, Corey, and Amy, and Spawn Holden. There's a bunch of birthdays here.
Yeah, we got a list. We got quite a list today.
William Elliott in Hawaii, 75. Joseph Partridge in Lubbock, Texas, another Texan, 6969. My dad hit me in the mouth for the first time about a week ago. He came over from the Rogan show.
All right.
He needs de-douchings for both of you.
You've been de-douched.
All right. It's for Bear.
Nicholas Brownstead in Chicago, Illinois, 6969. He says, screw the M5M. Long live no agenda. Andrew, well, thank you if you keep sending 6969, and we'll do that. Andrew Panebianco in Peoria, Arizona, 6808. Jennifer Sayer in parts unknown, 5678. Sir B. Boop, Night of the Frozen Tundra, 5678. Misag Yusufpur in South Australia, 5333. Needs jobs. Karma will give you that at the end. Catherine Pelandrani. There you go. Silver Springs, Maryland. Love you, mean it. 5510. Michael Shambau in Topeka, Kansas. 5510. Abby Newby. That's a great last name.
Abby Newby, everybody.
Is N-E-W-B-Y, so it's Newby, I'm sure. In Henderson, Tennessee, 5510. Chris Grimoli in Kingston, New York. And he came in with 54. Gordon Walton in Austin, Texas.
There
Probably
he
was
is.
at
Gordon,
the meetup.
He was.
5120. Maxine Waters Gravel's back from Louisville. 5025.
Oh, stop for a second. Maxine Waters Gravel has indeed launched the Fisting Nuts Company, and I feel obliged to read. Greetings, citizens. We wanted to let you know the site to order your limited edition Fisting Nuts, this is all an ode to you, John, is live. For real, no joke. Yes, it started off as a gag. Yes, you will get a real bag of fisting nuts, just like the ones that annoy John. Yes, a portion of the proceeds will be donated to the show. We currently have salted and honey-roasted nuts in stock. Barring any glitches, you should be able to order now. If you haven't been kicked off the tweeters, please feel free to post a picture of your nuts with the hashtag ResistWeMunch. Thank you for your courage. And it's fistingnuts.com or resistwemunch.com. And P.S. Share your nuts with others. We love these initiatives.
Lewd.
Yeah, so.
Larry Hay in Mooresville, North Carolina came in with $50, and the following people are $50 donors, name and location. Jesse Hall in Friendswood, Texas. Jim Kimbrough. We can do a whole bunch of jokes on wood.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Kimbrough in Dallas, Texas. Drew Mochak, Sir Drew in Mountain View, California. Michael Hayner in Paris, California, Perris. Jack Mullett in Belleville, Illinois. I think he wants something here. What does he want? He's good going to knighthood. David McLean in Cuba. He's in Cuba.
Really?
Oh, I'm sorry. He's in Cuba, Missouri. Yeah. Sir Robert Decanay in Fairfax, Virginia, if you know what I mean. And finally, last but not least, Stephen Schumacher.
I think Schumacher.
Xenia, Ohio.
Schumacher. We're just missing an R there.
Could be Schumacher, but it says Schumacher here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Schumacher.
And that's our group of well-wishers and producers for show 1311. 1312 is next.
And thank you all so much. Thanks to everyone who came in under $50. Many for reasons of anonymity. I see you, $49.99. But also many people on one of our programs. They are sustaining donorships. They are recurring. You can do them monthly, weekly. There's different options, all available at our website.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And we really want to thank everybody who supported this episode for today, episode 1311. And as promised, giving you some karmas at the end.
Jobs. You've got karma.
It's a birthday on No Agenda.
Another nice list. Augustine Lamoth turned 25 on the 7th. That's a belated birthday. Happy birthday to him. Tom Schassfort says happy birthday to his wife Jenny. Sue and Lee, happy birthday to her smoking hot husband Nate, who will be knighted in a moment. Amy Turner to her smoking hot husband Corey Turner, 48 yesterday. Sir Ray Jacobson, 59 on the 13th. And Joseph Partridge says happy birthday to his dad Bear, who will be celebrating on the 13th. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
Title changes, turn and face the slave. Title changes, don't want to be a douchebag.
That's right, we've got Sir Quistan, who becomes the Baron of the free Hanseatic city of Bremen, twinned with Grimsby. And we thank him very much for his courage and for supporting the No Agenda Show, the best podcast in the universe. We have 2 knightings to do here. And I guess I'll just grab a blade here.
I got the short blade today.
Okay, shorty, but it's not the size of the ocean, it's the motion. Up on the podium, we need Nate and Ben Jones. Gentlemen, both of you have supported the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more. It's very possible that someone loves you so much that they hooked you up for this one. You know who I'm looking at, Nate. I hereby pronounce-ticate thee, Sir Nate of the Nuclear Knight of the Bell River Valley, and Sir Ben in the simulation. Gentlemen, you'll be happy to know I have hookers and blow for you. Also, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, if you choose it that way. We got Horsehead and Pumpkin Ale, Chilled Potato Polish Vodka. We got Brisket and Barrel-Aged Copper Ale. We got Sparkling Cider and Escorts, Bong Hits and Bourbon, Ginger Ales and Gerbils, and Mutton and Mead, which is always decked out on the table, so enjoy that. And if you want to go later to noagendanation.com/rings, Eric the Shill will hook you up with your ring. We'll get it out to you as soon as possible, the sealing wax and the certificate, which proves it is all completely authentic. And thank you for supporting the No Agenda Show.
No Agenda.
Well, Texas was busy with a lot of meetups this weekend. You got my report from the 512 local. Houston was doing their best.
This is Brian at the Houston Raging Surge Super Spreader. We have lots of new faces here today, and I'll pass the phone around and they can introduce themselves.
In the morning, John Walker, and Parks Hubbard is a douchebag.
Hi, guys. This is Peter. We're here in Houston in the morning.
Hi, TM guys. This is Paul in Houston.
Hi, it's Mike in Houston. Having fun.
Hey, this is Kyle in Houston in the morning.
In the morning!
In the morning, Houstonians from the Austinites. And here's what's coming up in your meetup schedule. NoAgendaMeetups.com. Tuesday, East Tennessee Maskless Meetup, living on the edge at the Dandridge Brewing Company. Pulled pork barbecue, too. January 15th, Friday, Kansas City Full Frontal Exposure Edition, 6 o'clock at Don Chilitos in Mission, Kansas. We have the 16th, so that's next Saturday, Local 919, Durham, North Carolina, and that is Kickback Jacks for now, I believe. Also on Saturday the 16th, the Tiny Amygdala of the Anchorage, 4 o'clock Alaska time, Matanuska Brewing in Midtown Anchorage. I'd love to attend that. I've only been to Alaska, specifically Anchorage, once. I had a good time. You guys know how to party. Coming up in the month of January, the 17th, Sioux Falls, South Dakotans of Gitmo Nation Meetup. Also on the 17th, the Florida Pre-Inauguration Meetup. The 23rd, the Springfield, Missouri Super Spreader. Flight 011 of the No Agenda in Anaheim, California. And on the 24th of January, Arlington, Virginia. Philadelphia, PA, Local 76. The 29th, drinking in Scotty because Minnesota Nuts is still locked down. And the Melbourne Really Free on January 30th. I'm sure you're going to be canceled for that one. and Titletown, Green Bay, Wisconsin, also on January 30th. These are all outstanding. It's fantastic to join one of these. You will see people are calm, cool, collected, no triggering, have opinions, have ideas. I love hanging out. We love drinking. We're good at that. It's a good time. Bring your kids, too. They'll enjoy it and they'll learn something. If you can't find one that's near you at noagendameetups.com, hey, here's an idea. Start one yourself. Noagendameetups.com. It's like a party.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held the same. You want to be where everybody knows the same. It's like a party.
End of show ISO choices. You got anything? Did you bring stuff?
I felt bad about it when it happened, but I didn't get anything.
Oh, my. Okay, well, I have choice of this one you heard already.
A man and a woman.
Caught this one.
Freedom!
That's Kamala's freedom. I have this one.
The press is bad. The press is bad. The press is bad. The press is bad.
And this one.
Okay, boom, you nail it. That's it. The last one.
The press is bad. The press is bad. The press is bad.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Okay. All right. Let me just.
I do have the story about Kamala and the stupid freedom thing.
Hold on. I'm just lining
which
it
I'd like to get out of the way.
Yeah, sure. What is it?
Kamala also plagiarist.
Vice President-elect Kamala Harris is being accused of stealing an anecdote first told by Martin Luther King Jr. and passing it off as her own experience. In an interview with Elle magazine in October, Harris talked of going on civil rights marches with her family in a stroller. Quote, "My mother tells the story about how I'm fussing, and she's like, 'Baby, what do you want? What do you need?' And I just look at her and I said, 'Freedom.'" Now, some are noticing the serious similarities to a story told by the Reverend King in 1965. I will never forget a moment in Birmingham when a white policeman accosted a little Negro girl. "What do you want?" the policeman asked her gruffly, and the little girl answered, "Freedom." Now, this would be an amazing, huge story. It would be the biggest story out there if Harris was a Republican, but she's not.
I have her telling that story from C-SPAN.
She's apparently stuck with the story because it was in that interview.
But was that the C-SPAN interview? Yeah, I guess so. Well, hold on.
He said it was in Elle magazine.
Oh, well.
So this is her repertoire. This is a repertoire story, like Corn Pop. And my dad told me, and my mom told me the exact same thing.
Well, it's worth listening to it, not just for the story, but how she has an uncontrollable giggle laugh, which is really not appropriate in the laugh arc of her story.
And there are some funny stories. I was just sharing with someone backstage, so I witnessed this as I write about in the book, from my stroller's eye view. And there's a funny family story about how, so my mother's marching with the extended family. I talk about like Aunt Mary and Uncle Freddie in the book. And she would tell the story about how, so they're marching. And this is back when strollers didn't really have armrests and seatbelts. So they're marching away and, shouting and all of that. And then I think it was my Uncle Freddie, looked down and looked in the stroller, which was empty, and said, "Where's Kamala?" Apparently they left me like a block behind. I'd fallen out the stroller. There you go. And then my mother would tell a funny story about how, like, one day and I was fussing, and so I'm fussing and fussing. It's much cuter when she would tell the story, but she'd say, so then she would look down at me and, "Kamala, what do you want? What do you want?" And I looked back up at her and I said, "Freedom."
I'm so glad you told that story on your own, because I was going to ask you, because I wanted to hear you say freedom.
Oh, yeah. Freedom.
Ladies and gentlemen, your future president of the United States of America.
Something's wrong with her.
Spotify would reject that as a podcast with that laugh. Seriously, there is something wrong with her. How about she's insincere, underqualified, and an idiot? Would that help?
Yeah, probably.
I'd say perfect.
I have another clip.
I'd say perfect for U.S. president.
Since we talked about bad reporting or dubious reporting, I thought this was one of the worst things I've ever heard being reported. This was on PBS by not that guy. Srinavar, I can never pronounce his name unless I see it written down. This is the Weekend Report. And tell me what you think about what you're going to hear after you hear it. I'm sorry. I should have given
I think it's this one. I think it's this one.
In Indonesia, a plane carrying 62 people crashed into the Java Sea shortly after taking off from Jakarta this afternoon local time. The Indonesian Navy says it has pinpointed the location of the crash and is looking for survivors. According to the Indonesian Transportation Ministry, the domestic flight had been delayed at least 30 minutes due to heavy rain. It disappeared from radar 4 minutes after taking off. The plane was a 26-year-old Boeing 737-524, a much older version of the Boeing 737 MAX, which was pulled from service for 20 months after 2 crashes.
Yeah, your question.
It's not an older version of the MAX. It's just that it's got the same moniker. The MAX is, there's some few similarities in later models of this is a 25-year-old 737. It's got nothing to do with this new plane.
No, of course not. If you read the reports, most of the written reports, they always start off with a 26-year-old airplane, which has no bearing on the safety of said aircraft. The airframe can be 26 years old,
and it has. And the relationship to the 737 MAX is irrelevant.
It's completely.
The relationship is only really in name only.
Here's what I'm thinking. Don't fly on that airline. How about that for a thought?
Now, how about this for an idea? This was a planted story to slam Boeing.
Well, that war is ongoing, the war between Airbus and Boeing. I don't think we'll ever see the true winner of that one. But we will see something coming Thursday. Who knows what it'll be? But you can rest assured and know that we're on the case.
Yeah, it'll be impeachment, and that which is dumb, and a lot of complaining.
Mm-hmm. A lot of complaining. But we're not complaining because we are Gitmo Nation. Jesse Coy Nelson, end of show mix coming up. And you also got, I'm going to do the full We Are the World, Jeff Smith, Build Back Better, since we gave you so many different teases of it. I'm not sure who's coming up after the show. I need that in the main troll room. Somebody let me know. But I am Adam Curry, coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the capital of the Drone Star State, Austin, Texas. If you want to find us, we're snow-covered in FEMA Region 6. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, we're not snow-covered. That's never going to happen unless it's a different kind of snow. And it's kind of gloomy out there for some unknown reason. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Thursday. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, adios, mofos! And such.
This man literally put violence on peaceful protesters for a Bible photo opportunity and then was slammed by the church.
A man and a woman.
Nothing he does makes sense at all. And then his video response right after the violence, right at the beginning, he's perpetuating that this is a rigged election. And I mean, he just got caught on a recording asking for votes in Georgia. And he's going to be there saying, yeah, I know you guys are fighting a good fight. It's a rigged. He was recorded asking for votes.
A man and a woman.
I'm just beyond disturbed. I hope everyone is safe on both sides. I just hope everyone stays safe.
A man and a woman.
And I just hope this awful display of patriotism, and that's not what it is. Saying that with air quotes and sarcasm, it's not patriotism. I hope this is a catalyst for people just to really try to get some real change.
A man and a woman.
Because it's heartbreaking to know that this is the reality of America. We're not the Catholic speaking on the hill. Everyone has said that.
A man and a woman.
It's just I'm in my early 20s, and knowing that this is kind of like what I have to deal with for the rest of my life, and like it's really like, and what everyone else has to deal with, and what people like remember what things were like better, like in the good old days.
A man and a woman.
Like this is just kind of like really, really, really shocking, and I just can't believe that it's gotten to this point of like violence and just violence and ignorance.
A man and a woman.
It's a clown show.
It is.
It says on your chart that you're fucked up. You talk like a fag, and your shit's all retarded. What I do is just like, hey, you know what I mean? Like,
A man and a woman.
Befriending everyone, blossoming around us, boldness of the brave, pushing aside an open mind to be like everyone. Build that better, bend down on bended knee, bear the brunt of all the burdens like broken ones should be. With blinded loyalty, back the better ones than you, for a better life beyond your freedom. Build back better for someone else. Build back better, bend down on bended knee. Ooh yeah, bear the brunt of all the burdens like broken one should be. Build the blinded loyalty, back the better ones than you, for a better life beyond your freedom. Build that better for someone else.
Mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA. The press is bad. The press is bad. The press is bad. The press is bad.